any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, happy Tuesday, my good little buddy.
Happy Tuesday, Crudy. It is a beautiful day here in Milwaukee. Finally, the clouds have moved on. The sun is out. The sun's always shining in the studio. Good to see you, man.
The sun also shining here in Dane County, in Middleton, outside my undisclosed location in the bunker.
I know where you're at, man. You can't hide from me.
I'm inside the World International headquarters of Devil's Advocates Coolness International, Dom.
Happy days, my friend. What do you want to talk about today?
I tell you what, let's bring our audience up to speed, and we're going to have Nicole Safar from Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin. She's going to join us in the 4:30 hour. Going to turn it back towards Wisconsin, but initially, Dom, I think we need to get the audience up to date on what will be the newest Trump scandal on the horizon. Dom, let's
another more scandals?
We're going to get out in front of this scandal. We're going to let our audience be, early innovators on this scandal, Dom. Paul Waldman over at the Washington Post, get to know Elliot Broidy, the next major Trump scandal figure.
Now, I've heard the name, but I'm not clear. Why should this matter?
Well, I'll read from Waldman's piece at the Washington Post. Like any good drama, the Trump Omni scandal, a story of corruption and greed that crosses years and continents, has a collection of colorful supporting players. It can be hard to keep up with them all. You surely know Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels, but only true aficionados are aware of the details about Felix Sater or Oleg Deripaska and other minor figures. But today we turn our attention to one Elliot Broidy, who may well be moving into the first tier of Trump scandal players. His is a tale of government influence, foreign machinations, piles of money, and even a Playboy model mistress.
Excellent.
A new article from the Associated Press lays out a remarkable campaign that Broidy and his partner, George Nader, you should also know that name, Dom, waged in 2017 in order to obtain huge consulting contracts from Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, in exchange for which they would use Broidy's connections to the new president to help the Saudis and the UAE in their conflict with Qatar, a U.S. ally that houses a critical American military base. And as the Daily Beast reports, after years of trying with almost no success to obtain federal military contracts, in 2017, Broidy's company, Censornus LLC, received millions of dollars in defense work. The Trump presidency has been very good to Broidy. And he may have also been very good to President Donald Trump himself. But let's back up. The first time most of us heard Elliot Broidy's name was when Michael Cohen's home and office were raided by federal prosecutors. Let's not forget his shack-up hotel room, Dom. In the ensuing legal proceedings, Cohen told the court that he had 3 legal clients, Trump, Sean Hannity, and Broidy. I actually thought it was Trump, the Trump Organization, and Sean Hannity, but I digress. A major Republican donor, this Broidy, who has given hundreds of thousands of dollars to GOP candidates and who had held finance positions in the party. Cohen represented Broidy in an arrangement with former Playboy model Shara Beckchard, who was paid $1.6 million to keep quiet about an affair she supposedly had with Broidy, which resulted in a pregnancy that she aborted.
Well, how very conservative of them.
From the start, many parts of this story didn't quite add up. Broidy is a very rich man, but not necessarily someone who has the occasion to hang out with Playboy models, unlike some people you might be familiar with.
President?
And he was not a public figure, which makes the $1.6 million payoff seem wildly excessive. To put it bluntly, $1.6 million, and here's a quote, is keep this out of the papers because it'll be a huge story money, not don't tell my wife money. And why would Brody, who has access to the most high-priced and discreet legal talent in the country, retain someone like Cohen to take care of this delicate matter for him? All of which leads to the theory that Brody was acting as a cutout for the person who really had the affair with Betchard. That's Trump. That theory is at the moment unproven, but compelling.
I'll go along with it. It's entirely possible.
Dom, there's one more piece to this puzzle. We all know about Trump's weird relationship with his daughter, Ivanka Trump.
Creeper.
How he often comments on her body and says things like, if she weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. Both Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal, the Playboy model, who says she had an affair with Trump, said that Trump compared them to his daughter.
Oh.
Which is a rather odd thing to say to a woman you're having sex with.
You think?
Whatever the true nature of Trump's feelings, it's clear that he's attracted to women who remind him of Ivanka Trump. I bring this up because Sheriff Beckard is a dead ringer for Ivanka Trump, an absolute dead ringer, Dom.
But if the theory about Trump being the person who really had the affair with Beckard is true, why would Brody step in and put up $1.6 million of his own money to do Trump a solid in this way? The explanation is that he may have stood to gain much, much more. And he had been involved in this kind of arrangement before. In 2009, Brody pleaded guilty to a felony charge of rewarding official misconduct. He stayed out of jail by testifying against his co-conspirators. Snitches get stitches, Crute. He gave $1 million in illegal gifts to New York State officials, and the state invested $250 million with his investment firm.
Dom, that's a hell of a payoff, but wait for it. It gets better at the end here.
One of the interesting details was that as part of the gifts, Brody paid $90,000 to the mistress of one of the New York officials. Fast forward to 2017. With Trump in office, Brody was ready to really cash in. According to emails obtained by the Wall Street Journal, he was negotiating a deal in which he would use his influence to get the Justice Department to drop its investigation of a Malaysian company called IMBD, for which Brody and his wife would be paid $75 million. But the biggest haul was set to come from the Middle East. Brody teamed up with George Nader, a Lebanese-American who had lots of connections in the region and his own run-ins with the law. Here's one, Crudy. This is pretty sick. He had been convicted of sexually abusing minors in the Czech Republic and spent a year in prison there. I mean, when you spend a year in a Czech prison, I mean, why would someone continue to do business with you? But of course, these are the people in Trump's wheelhouse.
Ever seen a grown man naked, Jimmy?
You ever been to a Turkish prison? No, a Czech prison. I continue from a piece in the Washington Post, the plumb line. I think this is Paul Waldman. I continue. Now, Nader is based in the UAE and built a relationship with Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, a crown prince of Abu Dhabi, as well as Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, according to the AP. From the start, the men had a two-track mission to carry out a campaign against Qatar that would curry favor with the princes and then turn that success into millions of dollars in defense deals, documents show. They would sell the Saudis and the UAE on consulting contracts for intelligence services and building a new Muslim fighting force of 5,000 soldiers, for which Brody and Nader would be paid more than $1 billion.
That's with a B, right? That's starting to be a big chunk of money.
It's starting to add up. In exchange, they would get the American government on board with the Saudi UAE campaign against Qatar. The details are complex, but among the things we know is that Brody had multiple meetings with Trump in which he urged the president to support the Saudis and Emirates against Qatar. American policy towards Qatar has been erratic. Trump supported the Saudi UAE blockage of Qatar, but we haven't removed our military base. And there's much more to be learned about George Nader as well. On Saturday, the New York Times reported that in 2016, Nader met with Donald Trump Jr. and offered to help the Saudis and Emirates in getting his father elected. Mr. Nader was quickly embraced as a close ally of the Trump campaign by Trump campaign advisors, meeting frequently with Jared Kushner, Mr. Trump's son-in-law, and Michael T. Flynn, who became the president's first national security advisor. At the same time, Mr. Nader was also promoting a secret plan to use private contractors to destabilize Iran, the regional nemesis of Saudi Arabia, and the Emirates. Like many aspects of the Trump corruption scandal, when you peel back one layer, you find more and more layers. For instance, you'll be unsurprised to learn that Nader also has ties to Russia. Like Brody, at the very least, he could be facing criminal charges for acting as an agent of a foreign government without registering. And Nader is now cooperating with Robert Mueller's investigation. Once we learn everything there is to learn, the Trump scandals may not wrap up into a neat and easily understandable package. But all the Trump scandals all lead back to one story. A story about incredibly corrupt people, including the president himself, trampling all of the law and the interests of the country in order to stuff their own pockets, and it just keeps getting bigger. Hell, Crudy, for $1 billion? I mean, I think a lot of people would do a lot of things for $1 billion.
Maybe even take a bullet with the wife. Sure, I had the porn star mistress, Playboy playmate mistress.
So does the husband have to pay off the wife if you accept the story? Honey, just say it's me. Don't say anything, and we'll get paid by Trump.
Didn't she also stand to benefit $75 million on the one deal? I mean, even at halvesies, Dom, even marital property, that's $37.5 million if my radio math serves. You know, I would be okay with my wife messing around probably as long as there's a $37.5 million single playmate incidents payoff for me.
What the hell is going on in this country, in this world? Is this business as usual? I mean, is this how it has always been, and now it's just coming to light because of these investigations? Or is this something that is uniquely new to the Trump administration?
No, I think these sort of indecent proposals, these have only really happened under Trump's watch.
Will you have sex with me for $1 million, Crudy?
For $37.5 million, sure. You got a checkbook?
Yes, I do. Post-dated.
It's
third party.
It's going to have to be a bank check.
Mr. Weinstein, I'm ready for my solo.
Oh.
Come back with us. We are the Devil's Advocates. It's only our president that makes us this way. 844-967-2789.
I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
You like movies about gladiators?
The equipment didn't work too well.
My daughter, Ivanka.
Yeah.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body.
Yeah, she's hot.
I'm going to be dating her in 10 years.
Hi, Resistance Radio listeners. This is Kim Schrader, the president of the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association. We are the 4,600 educators who make Milwaukee's public education system possible. MTA members are the guardians of public education because every single day we are fighting to strengthen and protect public schools our students deserve. MTA educators are leading the fight in Milwaukee public schools for smaller class sizes, more recess, physical education, art, and music opportunities for every child in MPS. MTA educators are the champions for healthier school meals, positive discipline practices, equitable schools, and schools that partner with parents. MTA members are the guardians of public education, and we are proud to teach all children, regardless of their zip code. To learn more, follow us on Facebook at the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
The Devil's Advocates.
My Congresswoman Gwen Moore.
I think that you guys are filling a very important space. I think African Americans consume radio at a very high rate, and they really rely on radio for information. And so, word of warning to all those candidates out there, don't ignore these inexpensive ways to advertise.
Well, wait until we get our FM. They're going to get more expensive all the time.
Radio for the 99%.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Hello, friends. Tom Alonzi from Teamsters Local 200. Local 200 has union members from up north in Fond du Lac all the way down to the Illinois state line, from the shores of Lake Michigan out to Waukesha. Here's a fact. Teamster union members negotiate living wages and affordable health care benefits where they work with their union representative. If you're a worker interested in receiving better wages and benefits and respect at your workplace, give Teamsters Local 200 a call at 414-771-6363 and ask to speak to a Teamsters Local 200 organizer today.
Did you know you can take Wisconsin's Resistance Radio anywhere? Check us out on the TuneIn app under WRRD. I'll help you out. Hey, Alexa, play WRRD on the TuneIn app. You're welcome, everyone, and thank you for listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
60% of the time, they're right every time. Dom and Cruz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Also streaming on YouTube and Facebook pages. The Twitter feed is @Devil and the party line to talk or text toll free 844-967-2789.
Dominic, want to talk more about the fixer for Donald Trump? We all need a fixer. I need a fixer. Cohen, apparently, Dom, according to thehill.com, Cohen threatened The Onion. You know, The Onion in 2013 over a satirical Trump article. I'm going to read from Morgan Statler's piece. President Trump's personal attorney sent a cease and desist letter in 2013 to the satirical news organization The Onion over a fake article about how the then business mogul would likely die soon. It wasn't even that soon. I'll read on. In the piece published Monday, The Onion revealed the contents of the letter sent to them by Trump lawyer Michael Cohen. Cohen, according to the organization, sent an email following the publication of a fake commentary, #fake news, titled, "When you're feeling low, just remember, I'll be dead in about 15 or 20 years. You think he's got that long, Tom?"
You know, with our luck in this country, he probably does.
The Onion piece, satirically written by Trump. Cohen's letter demanded that The Onion remove the piece and issue an apology to Trump. Here's a quote, Dom. "The article is an absolutely disgusting piece that lacks any place in journalism. Even in your Onion," Cohen wrote in January of 2013, Cohen said, "The commentary goes way beyond defamation, and if not immediately removed, I will take all actions necessary to ensure your actions do not go without consequence. And finally, Dom, guide yourself accordingly." He warns, not acknowledging that the site is a satirical publication.
From the Hill, I continue. While the article that accompanied the release of the Cohen email has the Onion's signature satirical voice, the email is authentic, according to David Ford, communications coordinator for the online publication. "I can confirm the email itself is the real deal," Ford tweeted on Monday. From Michael Cohen to our press email address in 2013. However, Cohen suggested in a tweet Monday that the email was also satirical. Here's what Cohen tweeted. "Maybe all of you hashtag haters and hashtag trolls missed the memo by The Onion is a news satire organization. That means it's not real. Get a life," Cohen tweeted. In the spirit of transparency, The Onion released Cohen's letter in full, which is dated January 24th of 2013, and has his Trump Organization email signature. The Onion joked that after 5 years, they had finally gotten around to reading the email and would happily delete the article, quote, "in exchange for influence over the president's decision-making. We implore Mr. Cohen to meet with us without delay," the site wrote. "We are happy to schedule around his upcoming court appearances."
Dominic, this, of course, on top of the fact that Donald Trump's lawyer threatened, the Harvard Lampoon? They stole the president's chair from the Harvard Crimson. They took it to Trump Tower. They took photos with Trump in the chair. And then, Cohen threatened, "If you ever publish that, I'll burn you all down. I'll deport you."
Well, Crudy, from The Onion today, I can see why Cohen would be upset. Here's a headline. ICE detains Tim Kaine for speaking Spanish at a campaign rally.
Are we sure that was Spanish or more of the stepdad is Spanglish that Tim Kaine tried to throw around on the campaign trail prior?
Oh, Cohen, I hope he gets to keep his Twitter feed when he's in jail.
Him and Roger Stone. Oh, no, Stone's already been banned. Come back with us. We're still on Twitter for nowsies at Devil Radio, or call us out 844-967-2789.
Laugh now, because you clowns have been on double secret probation since the beginning of this semester.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Join us for Educators Amplified Part 4, the gubernatorial edition, this Saturday, May 12th, noon to 3 at the Miramar Theater in Milwaukee. Hosted by Earl Ingram Jr. and moderated by Dr. Timothy Slecker, 9 Democratic gubernatorial candidates will take questions regarding professional standards and licensing, testing and standardization, vouchers and charters, teacher demoralization, and school funding. 3 head-to-head debates lasting 1 hour each, starting noon to 1 p.m. Mike Kruk, Kelda Roys, and Tony Evers. From 1 to 2, Malin Mitchell, Mike McCabe, and Dana Wachs. And from 2 to 3, Andy Gronick, Paul Soglin, and Matt Flynn. The program is free, but seating is limited. All of this and more will be discussed this Saturday at Educators Amplify Part 4, the gubernatorial edition at the Miramar Theater in Milwaukee. Or listen in right here on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM Milwaukee and 1580 AM Madison. Educators Amplified, from schools and communities united, the Earl Ingram Show, the Busted Pencil Show, Citizen Action, WEAC Region 7, AFT Local 212, MTEA, and WRRD Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Sundays for Meet the Press with Chuck Todd from 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the Jeff Santos Show, kicking ass for the middle class from 12 to 3 p.m. And Citizen Action's Battleground Wisconsin rages from 3 to 4 p.m. Get your groove on with Stu Man PM, politics and music, 4 to 6 p.m. with Stu Daniels. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. The use of body cameras by the Milwaukee Police Department is showing how some officers can react improperly while on the job. Video footage of the arrest and tasing of Milwaukee Bucks player Sterling Brown could be released soon. Mayor Tom Barrett expressed concerns yesterday about the actions of the officers involved. Brown did not appear combative or threatening in the video, according to sources who have seen it. And the Brewers continue their winning ways. They beat the Diamondbacks last night 3-1 in the first game of a 10-game homestand. They play Arizona again tonight in the second game of that 3-game series. Outside today, clearing skies and then partly cloudy tonight, lows in the upper 40s in Milwaukee, mid-50s in Madison. For tomorrow, mostly sunny with highs in the low 70s in Milwaukee, upper 70s in Madison. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Devil's Advocates. Never personal, only politics.
Busted flat in Baton Rouge, waiting for a train, and us feeling near as faded as my jeans.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. I hate to even speak. I love this song.
Great song.
Me and my Dommy McGee in there. Buddy, wanted to take a little Trump sound. We're going to get to the phones momentarily. Be a little patient. 844-967-2789. Talking about Donald Trump. And I got to tell you, Dom, if there's a red line, a constitutional red line, this man has crossed it.
Crossed it, man. He triple jumped over that thing.
Buddy, investigate the investigators. Seems very Scott Walker-like, doesn't it?
It seems very fascist. It seems very dictatorial. It seems like, man, if I was ever in that position, I'd love to be able to do that, but we can't.
Well, let's not forget Scott Walker stayed out of jail despite his illegal activity, his illegal behaviors, and his buddy, the conflicted J.B. Van Hollen, took like 5 months to give him cover and get a good legal defense in place.
Before he decided that he wasn't going to investigate because he was conflicted?
Oh, yeah. That J.B. Van Hollen multi-jurisdictional investigation, of course, that eventually got squashed by Scott Walker's co-conspirators in the Wisconsin Supreme Court, Tom. But we digress.
but this is not the first time this attitude has been taken by Republicans.
No, we've seen this play out before, and in fact, there are some corrupted people. We always think justice will prevail. And I would say, no, that's not necessarily true. Scott Walker is still a free man.
Sometimes they get away with it. Sometimes crime does pay. Handsomely, it turns out.
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and the Russia investigation. Well, hell, Dom, it's been a year. He told him, hurry up and shut it down. Today, he had some thoughts. I believe he was with South Korean President Moon. Dom, you call these shots. You pulled this sound.
Yeah, let's do this. Fancy Brian did some fine work today. We'll start with 109 Trump regarding the Russian investigation. We're going to get into this. Let's hear what some people's president had to say. 109.
If they had spies in my campaign, during my campaign for political purposes, that would be unprecedented in the history of our country.
Actually, I think there were spies in the Carter campaign, but might have been the same guy.
Ronald Reagan?
Yes, the guy that committed treason by, negotiating with terrorists regarding the release of hostages. But,
you mean Ronald Reagan?
Yeah, Grandpa Reagan, the smiling
He's the guy
guy
that hired Ollie North, now the president of the NRA. That guy, right? Iran-Contra Ollie.
Don't these people ever go away? But again, Donald Trump, love the way he phrases this. Now, I don't know if I would necessarily disagree if, if I was going to run for office and law enforcement stuck somebody in my campaign to spy on me for no reason, I might take issue with that as well. But let's remember all the shenanigans and meetings and coordination that this guy and his crew have had with foreign countries. I can't even just say Russia anymore because it was more than Russia. But let's hear.
How do you differentiate the spies from the foreign agents that you hired, right?
Right. What spies? And is it spies or is it investigations? When someone goes undercover and you see the movies and the DEA goes under and he's really a cop, is that a spy or is that an investigation? I guess it depends on whether or not you're guilty or not. Trump, continuing on, cut 110.
It would make probably every political event ever look like small potatoes.
Well, let's keep going.
If they had spies in my campaign, that would be a disgrace to this country. That would be one of the biggest insults that anyone's ever seen, and it would be very illegal.
Illegal? No, the president's all concerned about legalities. A couple more from Trump. Let's keep going.
Congress would like to see documents opened up. A lot of people are saying they had spies in my campaign. If they had spies in my campaign, that would be a disgrace to this country.
This is a guy that tends to repeat himself over and over again. And let's remember, there's no collusion. So why would there possibly be any spy or investigate? Let's do the last one.
Do you have confidence in Rod Rosenstein?
What's your next question, please?
I'm a reporter from...
excuse me, I have the president of South Korea here.
Yes.
Okay. He doesn't want to hear these questions, if you don't mind.
What? So you just went off and said the same thing over and over again about spies in your campaign, and now someone's going to ask you about it, and what, you dish it off on your guests that they don't want to hear about it? You're such a hack.
Come on, Dom, you got the man elected.
He shook my hand. I gave him the touch. But hell, Cruz shook my hand, and he went down in flames. So how do you explain that?
You got like a 50-50 track record. 844-967-2789. Dom, I understand Lonnie's been holding.
Yeah, let's get to Lonnie. Hey, Lonnie, welcome back, man. Happy Tuesday. What do you got for us today?
Hey, guys, happy Tuesday. Sorry for the bad weather heading y'all way, but it'll be all right.
It's all right now, man. The sun's out. We're okay.
Yeah, we cloudy, windy, and rainy, so y'all going to see it in a couple of days, so fine. But anyway, I was just sitting up here thinking about our genius president. I'm sorry. It really takes a genius to sit up there and want his investigation to be opened up to the House, and I can't wait to see what Mueller brings to the committee. Can you imagine he gets to sit on all his stuff that we haven't heard or seen and put out whatever he wants to put out? And I don't think that's going to be good for Trump and his cronies.
Well, Lonnie, what do you think, though? I mean, I'm a little conflicted on this. We got a piece from Jennifer Rubin from the Post, so we're going to kind of get into this. But what do you think about the Justice Department acquiescing to the request? I mean,
Rosenstein and Ray took the meeting, Lonnie.
You know what? I think that's good because you know what? It is time for the American people to know some of the stuff that Mueller have on this here food because there's a lot of stuff. So now that he, instead of just giving it to Nunes and all these other foods that are backing the food that's foolishly running his mouth, well, now we as the American people know it's going to leak like a sieve because they're going to the House. So whatever Mueller presents, it's going to be news to all of us.
So you think this is purposefully
for Trump?
All you got to do is give the information to Devin Nunes, and then the whole world knows it?
Yeah, but no, they know what he wants them to know. This is coming from Mueller, so nobody knows what Mueller has to say. So when he takes it to the House...
But do you think
if you were under investigation, would you want your dirt out there in front of Congress?
Well, depends on who's in Congress. Let me ask you this, Lonnie. We had the FBI director. We had the guy who's effectively in charge of the Mueller investigation over at the DOJ, Rosenstein.
Yeah.
They got called to the White House. Trump gets to say, without any evidence, investigate
the investigators.
Investigate this random accusation, I'm going to say, that someone's got a spy in my White House. Now, that is clearly a red line. He's clearly crossing a line of independence with the Department of Justice and the FBI. Yet they took the meeting, Lonnie.
Yeah.
So here's the question, Lonnie. So did they take the meeting because Mueller said, yeah, you take that meeting, you take copious notes, and this will just help us build the obstruction case against Donald Trump? I think they knew exactly what they were doing. I think Trump screwed himself by calling for this meeting and bringing investigators. They haven't gotten an interview with them, but he basically brought him over to the house and told him exactly what he's thinking. He did.
I know. I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. He's under investigation. Now he wants the House to know some of the stuff, because the FBI ain't going to give him everything. But they're going to give us enough to let us know that he's in deep doo-doo.
Lonnie, you take such glee in that.
As we do. We take glee in your call, Lonnie. We always appreciate it. 844-967-2789. Let's get some more in here. It's our pal Mark. Hey, Mark, welcome to the Devil's Advocates. What do you think?
How you doing, Mark?
It's a never-ending cavalcade of amusement for some of the stuff. It just never ends. I mean, that you give Nunez something, and it's gonna go right to Donald Trump. I mean, he's gonna be over there whispered in Donald Trump's ear, before Rosenstein even gets back to his office. I mean, it just. And the defenders, I guess, are what gets me. I mean, these people who see this stuff going on, and they just say, "Oh, it's fake news," and any blurb about Hillary Clinton that ever came out, these guys are they. How many times did she testify about the Benghazi thing or her email accounts or all this? And Trump does not have a secured phone apparently. I mean, and that was something they hammered on the campaign.
We got time for that. It's too inconvenient. Essentially the Hillary Clinton defense.
And Mike Pence's private AOL account got hacked.
AOL.
As it's been said before, Michael Pence is up to this in his albino eyebrows. I mean, that he's, I'm convinced that for that Steele dossier, for that stuff, I think the reason the Republican, guy who started it, stopped it is, stopped paying for it, because I think half the Republican Party, was implicated in some of this stuff.
Well, and wasn't it John McCain that passed that thing along to the FBI?
Dossier, yes.
And here's another thing, Mark. Let's look at an alternate universe. Let's say Hillary Clinton won the presidency, and there was some investigation because, of course, Republicans have Congress. They start an investigation into the Clinton Foundation, and then Hillary Clinton says, "Hey, I don't like that. I think this is wrong. I want to talk to the investigators. I want some of this information released." What do you think the reaction of those Republicans in Washington, D.C. and around this country would be if that were the case?
Impeachment. I mean, it would be
right.
It would. Well, before she even got done talking on the phone, they'd have the articles drawn up.
You remember, and thank you for the call, Mark. You remember that John Grisham movie that featured Matthew McConaughey? In every Grisham movie, it's always about a lawyer, right? Some lawyer down south doing the right thing or trying to defend the downtrodden client. And Matthew McConaughey tells the story in court, and the defendant is the father of this young girl who's been trampled and dragged through the street. And he tells the story, and he says, "Close your eyes, imagine the story." And at the end of the story, Matthew McConaughey says, "Now imagine this little girl was white." And I would say, for those of our friends that are Trump supporters out there, flip that story around. Imagine if this story, and it was the black president. What do you think the reaction would be?
Brian, what movie was that?
That was A Time to Kill.
Time to Kill. The reaction, of course, would...
Southerners don't sweat, they sheen.
844-967-2789. When we come back, we can take some more of your calls, and we're going to get into this piece. I'm a little conflicted here. I'm a little angry. I'm not sure how to react. Washington Post, Jennifer Rubin, the right turn. Did Rosenstein and Ray play Trump? A hell of a question. We're going to try to answer it when we get back. 844-967-2789. We are the Devil's Advocates on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Dom's got the vapors.
We have to bring back law and order.
From the time you saw Dr. Zhivago until the moment you drank vodka with a guy named Boris.
And if it is Russia, which is probably not, nobody knows who it is.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Hi, I'm Becky with Bounce Milwaukee, a progressive, local, family-owned entertainment center. We just want to remind you what it's like to be a kid again. Come on in for all ages fun. Bounce in our giant inflatables, race up the rock wall, dominate your friends in laser tag, or just relax in our bar or our massage chairs. Open 6 days a week with extended adult-only weekend hours. Find us at bouncemilwaukee.com.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella, Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines. Five Nines is more than just our name. It's the level of service you can expect. We provide 99.999% uptime. That's the highest availability and performance you can get. You have enough to worry about with your business data, web, security, and cloud services, so we'll manage your IT so you don't have to. Visit 59s.com. That's the number 5NINES.com.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
I'm Andy Buck, and I'm proud to be union.
Tell me about the underground economy.
Well, the underground economy is essentially workers being exploited, and they're being exploited all over the state. They're working for no benefits, no retirement, and if you don't join your brothers and sisters, you don't respect your craft.
Andy, why should I hire union?
Crudy, you should hire union because you want the job done right the first time. We represent the highest skilled, safety-trained workers in the industries that we represent. Glazers, painters, and drywall finishers. Join us. Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Josh Call, the candidate for Wisconsin Attorney General.
Do you think voter ID had a suppressive effect, not on 100 voters, but on thousands of voters, and perhaps tipped the election to Donald Trump?
This is an issue that came up at our trial. And first of all, I should thank you guys, because we actually introduced into evidence the recording of you interviewing Dale Schultz, who was talking about the passage of the voter ID law. That was one of our pieces of evidence.
I would have gotten away with it, too, if it wasn't for those meddling devil's advocates. Warning, listening to the Devil's Advocates may expose you to opposing views.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, also streaming on our YouTube and Facebook pages. You can tweet us out at Devil Radio, and you can text or call on the toll-free line, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I'm jumping right back into the headlines. Did Rosenstein and Ray play Trump by Jennifer Rubin? The right turn at the Post. On Monday, President Trump met at the White House with Deputy Attorney General Rod J. Rosenstein, FBI Director Christopher Wray, and Director of National Intelligence Dan Coats, among others, about the investigation into any irregularities with the Federal Bureau of Investigation or the Department of Justice tactics concerning the Trump campaign and congressional access to the highly confidential material. This set off a furious reaction among those concerned with the erosion of democratic norms. There is widespread agreement outside of Trump land that the meeting between the investigators responsible for an inquiry into the president's misconduct and those directly involved in the investigation is unprecedented and alarming. When it comes to the wisdom of Rosenstein and Ray's attendance, there are two schools of thought. As a preliminary matter, let's note that all three of these are Trump appointees. All three have publicly attested that Russia interfered in the election to help Trump, and none has a close personal relationship with Trump, nor does, for example, Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Although we did see Sessions on the stump for Trump. I read on. One side, aptly represented by experts such as Jake Goldsmith, argues that we need to cut Rosenstein and Ray some slack. Here's a quote, Tom. Some people think Some people think they already should have resigned because of the president's attacks on integrity and independence of DOJ and FBI. They would certainly have plenty of reason to resign in protest, he said in an interview with Isaac Choitner. But the main reason they appear to be staying on is to see the investigation through. It would disrupt the investigation for an uncertain period, and in an uncertain but probably bad way if Rosenstein, Ray, or Mueller left for any reason. That's why I think we should support them in their decision to stay on, take the heat, and see the investigation to its completion, or at least as far towards completion as possible, he added. I'm sure there are red lines, but given the stakes of resignation and Trump's unpredictable behavior, it's hard to know what they are. The thinking is the meeting was a tactical concession that gives up little ground, a means of deflecting Trump that permits them to do their work. Others, including former Attorney General Jeff Holder, argue that the meeting was a hugely significant breach of democratic norms and Justice Department practice. Accordingly, Ray and Rosenstein are essentially enabling rather than curtailing Trump's trashing of constitutional norms. These critics worry that Rosenstein and Ray are incrementally damaging the very norms they want to protect. Dom, I'm going to read just a little more. I find the latter argument a little hard to fathom, given that Ray and Rosenstein almost surely consulted with special counsel Robert Mueller before attending. Moreover, Rosenstein has demonstrated that he is determined to give Mueller wide berth to conduct the investigation, including a recent public declaration that the Justice Department would not be extorted unless he has experienced a complete change of heart. One should imagine that in agreeing to the meeting, he did not consider himself to be a victim of extortion.
I'll bring it home, Crudy. Again, this is from the Washington Post with the right turn, Jennifer Rubin. I would suggest a third take on the meeting. Ray and Rosenstein, with Mueller's full backing, might be setting up Trump. We know Mueller is already pursuing an obstruction of justice inquiry that might relate to acts such as Trump firing former FBI Director Comey, falsely accusing him of illegally leaking confidential material, pressuring Comey to drop the investigation into Michael Flynn, helping draft a phony cover story to explain the June 9 Trump Tower meeting, and conducting an extended campaign to smear, discredit, and disrupt the work of the FBI and the special counsel. In that vein, wouldn't a meeting directly ordering Ray and Rosenstein to conduct what amounts to a wild goose chase and put confidential material into the hands of congressional allies be part of a possible pattern of possible obstruction they are investigating? Goodness knows what Trump said in the meeting and what he revealed about his intent with regard to outing the previously secret source. Moreover, Wray and Rosenstein already may have a very good idea who leaked the name of the source, initially to the right-wing Daily Caller, it appears, and may be keen to see whether the material shared with congressional Republicans get leaked as well. They, too, understand the finite protections of the Constitution's speech or debate clause. This isn't, alas, the deep state at work. Remember, it's Trump himself who's demanding the inquiry and document sharing. It's his appointees who are complying with his wishes. If this is the deep state, then it is so devious as to draft Trump and his top associates into its secret enclave. But let's get back to reality. Going to the meeting, taking copious notes, analyzing the notes to determine the propriety of Trump's comments and referring that information over to Mueller is precisely what any reasonable law enforcement official would do. It was, come to think of it, precisely what Comey did. In short, I'm certainly inclined to give Rosenstein and Wray the benefit of the doubt as to their efforts to navigate around Trump. In fact, I'm willing to bet they knew exactly what they are doing and saw utility in having the meeting. We'll know soon enough whether the meeting was part of the investigation, not an attempt to protect the investigation.
Jennifer Rubin at the Washington Post, The Right Turn. We are the Devil's Advocates right here, usually on Brady Street. I'm in the bunker. We'll come back. Hour 2 is next. Your phone calls always welcome here, 844-967-2789.
If it's possible, would you let me know, am I under investigation?
No! Yes. A bit.
On marijuana, unfortunately, as a public health issue and a public safety issue, I've opposed that.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, how can medical marijuana help those addicted to opioids?
There's three big things. There's clear consensus now that cannabis can treat pain. That is not an opinion. That is a consensus conclusion by big scientific bodies like the National Academy of Science. We also know that it can help treat the withdrawal symptoms of opioids. People, they don't want to be on it anymore. They want to quit, but they develop the terrible withdrawal symptoms. And now we have evidence that it can actually help heal the part of the brain that is diseased in someone who's an opioid addict. If you had to start from scratch and design a substance to help lead us out of the opioid epidemic, like in a lab, it would probably look very much like cannabis.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212. Tell him good people do smoke marijuana. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, I'm Daryl Ingram of News Talk 1510 WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, and I am the Director of Advertising and Marketing. The pride of our independent stands runs deep in all that we do here at the station. The thing that I know for sure is that you can count on the quality and independent production of client advertising, mirroring the quality and independence of our fine programming here at News Talk 1510. To learn more, contact me at 414-335-0851 or via email at daryl@newstalk1510am.com.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Semi-confident, talking school safety. I'm Richard Johnson. President Trump says it's in doubt, but when it comes to the chances of a Trump-Kim summit next month, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says...
I'm not a betting man, so I wouldn't care to predict whether it will happen, only to predict that we'll be ready in the event that it does.
Pompeo says it was Kim Jong-un who asked for the meeting with President Trump. The whole thing is in the air since last week's vague statement from Pyongyang casting doubt on Kim's participation. President Trump says if the FBI planted spies in his campaign, it would be a disgrace. But so far, no one's offered any proof of the allegation first raised last week by Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani. It's been a couple of hours now that police in Panama City, Florida, have surrounded an apartment building where a shooter is holed up. One person's been slightly wounded. Neighbors heard about 50 shots before officers responded and evacuated those nearby. Texas Governor Greg Abbott promised to let people have their say about school safety after Friday's tragedy outside Houston. Today, he began making good on that promise with the first of 3 roundtable discussions.
Governor Abbott says the purpose of the meetings is for legislators to listen to and ask questions of the participants to get a better understanding of what could improve safety measures.
One single goal, and that is to gain as much information as possible out of each person in this room, calling upon your level of expertise and knowledge where you can be providing a solution.
The roundtables run through Thursday and will include not just lawmakers and administrators, but students who have survived school shootings. I'm Clayton Neville.
The Korea news took its toll on Wall Street after being down just a few points most of the trading day. The Dow plunged on the news. The summit's in doubt. The industrial average closed down nearly 180 points. The S&P and NASDAQ were both off just a fraction. I'm Rich.
Hey, folks. Sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
If you're like a lot of companies, you know you need IT, but you aren't sure where to start. That's where Five Nines comes in. Hi, I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO. For almost 15 years, Five Nines has been providing IT solutions to companies just like yours. We'll show you the solutions that are right for your business and give you the roadmap to success in the future. Find us at 5nines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Another mea culpa from Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg on how bad actors abuse data gleaned from the site.
We weren't prepared enough for the kind of coordinated misinformation operations that we are now aware of.
Zuckerberg in remarks to the European Parliament in Brussels. Another big day for Britain's royal family, including the first public appearance of Harry and Meghan as a married couple.
Meghan Markle, now the Duchess of Sussex, got her first taste of being out in public as a senior royal today at a garden party here at Buckingham Palace to honour her father-in-law, Prince Charles, in his 70th year now.
Correspondent Max Foster in London says Harry gave a speech to honour his father at his 70th birthday party, and he finished it even after suffering a bee sting. The Necco wafer and sweet tarts may yet survive. There are 4 bidders ready for tomorrow's auction for the bankrupt candy maker, the New England Confection Company. I'm Richard Johnson.
Driving means
freedom,
exploration,
fun,
pride,
flexibility,
protection, friendship,
escape,
independence.
Distracted driving means
danger,
recklessness,
irresponsible,
chaos, police, devastation, injury,
death.
Safe driving means staying alert and staying alive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Live via phone, he is former U.S. Attorney Jim Santel.
Firing Bob Mueller doesn't mean that the prosecution, the investigation goes away. Pardoning one individual does not mean that you undo everything that has been done before. So this notion that somehow by shutting down and by pardoning and by sort of stopping the process, you're also stopping the wheels of justice is simply, again, it's simply wrong.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 a.m. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. We Energies wants to build a nearly 50-mile pipeline from near Whitewater to Racine County, close to the Foxconn factory. The pipeline will cost nearly $200 million and would be paid for by We Energies customers. The company says despite the pipeline's location close to Foxconn, they are not building it just for the Taiwanese company. They said the project was already in the works before the Foxconn factory was announced. Outside today, clearing skies and then partly cloudy tonight, lows in the upper 40s in Milwaukee, mid-50s in Madison. For tomorrow, mostly sunny with highs in the low 70s in Milwaukee, upper 70s in Madison. And then on Thursday, mostly sunny again with highs in the mid-70s in Milwaukee, low 80s in Madison. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, time for some Walker bashing. Hashtag Walker bashing. Woohoo! I don't know. We discussed yesterday the breeder bonus, the breeder bribe for all families in Wisconsin that have children. Here's $100. Vote for Scott Walker. We talked about that at brief yesterday. You had not yet applied. I think my wife might have applied on behalf of my family. Well, the governor wants to make sure everybody knows who is the generous soul that would offer them $100, Dom. So he's sending out postcards. Lots and lots of postcards. I read from the Journal Sentinel online. Governor Scott Walker's administration spent $128,000
Oh, come
on more than 500,000 postcards urging people to sign up for a new tax rebate, a move that has reignited the political debate over the tax break. Like I needed an excuse. The expense is just 0.1% of the tax rebate's estimated $122 million boondoggle it cost. But liberal critics contend the postcard is the latest sign the tax break is aimed at boosting the GOP's governor re-election chances. Now here's a quote, Dom. Our friends over at One Wisconsin Now, Mike Brown, deputy director. There's no gimmick or giveaway Scott Walker won't try in his desperate bid to keep his job. There's also no line between his campaign and the state government. In this latest instance, we find he's spending $128,000 in taxpayer funds for a mailing to supplant his political advertising. Walker's spokeswoman, Amy Hassenberg, dismissed the criticism. Only out-of-touch Madison liberals think returning a budget surplus to the hardworking taxpayers is a waste of money, she said in the statement. Well, what about the postage? I read on. Hardworking families across the state will benefit from this child tax rebate, and we encourage all who are eligible to claim it. What do you think, Dom?
I think this is a bunch of BS, and I'm sick of these frickin' Republicans putting it on these liberals. Come on, if this wasn't a gimmick, you just give the tax break. We just paid taxes in April. You don't have to do any mailing. You don't need to do a damn thing. You can just say, hey, everyone with a kid, you get an extra $100 next year. Oh, wait, but that's after the election cycle, Miss Hassenberg. What are you talking about? You're spending money unneedily for a gimmick so people will think, and I hope to God everybody thinks of Governor Walker when you're going through the hassle to get some of your own money back, as the Republicans will tell you, and they're wasting money on postage, they're wasting your time, because if it was really something they wanted to do, if they're really concerned about our money, us being able to hang on to our money, you wouldn't have to go through the steps. But, Crudy, let's not forget, this is in the real scheme of things, $128,000, that's nothing. Last week, was it only last week, Glenn Grothman draws fire for outspending fellow House members from state on mail-related costs. Also in the Journal Sentinel, Lee Berquist. Grothman spent almost $270,000 on mail-related expenses from January of 2017 to March of 2018, 5 quarters, compared to the average for Wisconsin House members of $87,000.
So, Dominic, they're using, effectively, the taxpayers and postage to campaign.
Yes!
And we get to pay for it. What a sweet deal for Governor Walker and your buddy Glenn Grothman.
Wow.
Dom, we got a caller waiting still?
Yes, we do. 844-967-2789. It's Pizza the Box. Hey, Mike, welcome back. What do you got for us today?
Hey, I got a really good idea on how to help working families, Republicans. How about paying them a living wage?
Oh,
jerks?
Come on.
Yeah?
No, that's not free market, Mike.
Walker had that option solely at his discretion. Mike, of course, Wisconsin state law said the minimum wage must be a living wage, and Walker just changed the wording to, correspond with the $7.25 an hour federal minimum wage. That thing hasn't gone up since I was working for minimum wage.
Dom, I think you almost swore when you were just getting excited like that a little while ago. I think you were.
Mike, easy over there, Tony Evers.
I really struggle, Pizza Box, on how to present these things because, of course, I have this lofty ideal of, civil discourse. But when I see this and I read these and I understand what they're doing and they just continue to throw out this BS at us, sometimes my passion overcomes my sensibility and so I try not to, Mike, but I'm only human.
Hey, well, listen, I just left a state park where I go in quite often, right? And I'm telling them, you guys need to protect these tadpoles where there's like a washout here and put up some cones so nobody drives through it. There's a bunch of thousands of tadpoles in there. They weren't even aware of it, so they were glad I pointed it out. But in between, there's a guy asking about camping rates, and this person was going, I can't even tell you what our DNR did now. She goes, this is so confusing. And she's trying to explain to the guy what it is per night in the weekdays and the weeknights and with non-electric versus electric. And it never was like this before. It's all color-coded, divide and conquer with them colors. So, you know what? I think it's time to go Ewok on these guys. I'm going to go hide my dried fruit and nuts. I'm going to burrow into a log and wait for the stormtroopers. Then I'm going to fight like a Palestinian with clubs and sticks against the stormtroopers when they come in. I don't care, man. This is just insane, and I can't believe that it's going to continue. And you don't hold your breath on the Trump thing. I think this is not going to work out well for the people either way. This is really a bad road we're going down. And what do you got to do to get, charged with something? Oh, he's the president. He doesn't have to get charged. This is insane.
I give up. Mike, they actually think that you cannot indict. I mean, if you can't indict, if you cannot charge a sitting president, then what is the limit of his power?
Well, it's Steven Seagal time, I guess. But and the Republicans yesterday talking about what they worry about most with the school shootings is losing a generation of voters, not losing lives. And half-mast in honor of these guys like they're serving and protecting our nation by going to school. This is just absolutely unacceptable.
So, Mike, if the Republicans are concerned about losing a generation of voters, presumably, I guess it would mean a generation of Republican voters. Is it okay then if it's only the Dems who get shot, the liberal kids that get shot? I'm unclear.
You know what? I don't think they really care about who sacrifices their lives as long as they're poor and they follow the troops, man. That's all there is to it. It don't matter. They're just, and all these guys that have the pedigree in Congress and stuff, I was a lieutenant and this and that. ROTC Green Zone BS, man. I know who you guys are. Kuyanga and other clowns like that. You never would have made it out of a active zone with that long neck sticking out of it. There's no way to dodge.
come on, man, he's military intelligence. He's looking for, desperado signs with IEDs behind him at the Wisconsin State Capitol.
Keeping people safe from signs that are permitted. Thanks for the call, Pizza Box. Also, Pete from the text line at 844-967-2789. He has some grievances regarding this text. Here's what Pete says. What about those people who are single? How about the people who have children that are grown? They still pay taxes, right? Why, yes, Pete, they do, but apparently it doesn't matter to the Republicans.
James on the Facebook live stream throws out a message, if you will. He says, the tax rebate is a bribe, but bribes work. Someone else, I believe, asked, if they're so interested in spending $128,000 to inform people that Scotty Walker's giving them a bribe, why don't they expend any money to inform people about voter ID laws or getting them registered to vote here in the state of Wisconsin? Why is that not a priority for this governor?
Right, that's an excellent point.
Dominic, we got a fine guest who's coming up soon. She is Nicole Safar, Executive Director, Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin. And I would point out, Scott Walker, it's election year again. And Scott Walker, back in 2014, he rolled out that ad. You recall it, Tom? Tough choices or something of that sort. A woman and her doctor, and they must make these tough choices. Almost seemed open to the fact that a woman should control her own body. But, of course, after winning election, he signed a 20-week abortion ban. Now the governor of Iowa has signed a heartbeat ban, 6 weeks. Scott Walker was asked to comment on that today by the fine media, not once but twice. We'll talk about Scott Walker's current election year response when we come back. We are the Devil's Advocates. Phone lines always toll free here at 844-967-2789.
Biggest fear that I think a lot of our supporters have is the outside money.
So what I told you was true, from a certain point of view.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property, or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009, or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
I got to tell you, so when I first moved to Green Bay to play football in '92, I had never been to Wisconsin. But the funniest thing I thought, you could not buy hamburger patties without a dollop of butter on them.
Folks, just so you know, if you take a little bit of herb butter and put it in the middle of a patty and just kind of mold it around there, you get magic.
I have one of my arteries right now.
How much did you say you weighed?
I'm gaining weight with my thoughts right now.
You're $3 bills and some change already, brother.
Guns, Butter, Economics, 414 Wisconsin, weekdays 2 to 3 p.m. on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are
a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and he puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes a speech, but he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy, okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that
I'm using facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
When they go low, we get high. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. You can join us on the lines 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I want to remind our audience, Scott Walker, he's an entirely different creature, tries to change his stripes every election cycle, and it was back in 2014. He ran an ad, and this ad, he seemed very earnest, and he looked out there and talked about the tough choices women and their doctors have to make. He could have called this ad, I don't know what the title was, but it should have been Lying, Pandering, Election Year Walker, or Tough Choices, something of that effect. Let's play it for the people so they have a little context in how this politician changes his stripes. Play it for the people, Fancy Brian.
Hi, I'm Scott Walker. I'm pro-life, but there's no doubt in my mind the decision of whether or not to end a pregnancy is an agonizing one. That's why I support legislation to increase safety and to provide more information for a woman considering her options. The bill leaves the final decision to a woman and her doctor. Now, reasonable people can disagree on this issue. Our priority is to protect the health and safety of all Wisconsin citizens.
You would never guess the man intended, after his reelection, to sign a 20-week abortion ban in July of 2015, Dom, just in time to launch his presidential campaign.
Oh, yes, Iowa.
Scott Walker, today, this newest headline, Patrick Marley, Journal-Sentinel Online. Scott Walker shows no interest.
None.
In abortion restrictions like ones just approved in Iowa. Governor Scott Walker showed no interest Tuesday in passing an Iowa-style law that would ban abortions at 6 weeks in most cases. Here's the quote, garden salad style, Dom. I think our laws protecting life in the state are very strong as it is right now. In the past, we've been at the forefront in a lot of those things.
Going forward.
Walker told reporters when asked if he wanted to approve a ban like Iowa's. Asked a second time if apparently the reporters didn't see that as a grammatical statement of yes or no. Right. Asked the second time if he would back such legislation. The GOP governor again said the state already has strong abortion laws. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds this month signed the strictest abortion law in the country, barring the procedure when fetal heartbeat can be detected, a point when many women do not know they are pregnant. Abortion providers and the American Civil Liberties Union are challenging the law in court. Walker's long back limits on abortion. In 2015, I mentioned this, Dom, he signed a law that barred abortion after 20 weeks. That was after that ad that we just played for you people.
The safety ad.
Federal courts found the law unconstitutional and made the state pay $1.6 million in legal fees. Well, they just keep piling up, Dom, to a pair of abortion providers who brought the lawsuit. Walker is running for re-election this fall. Hey, no kidding. 9 Democrats are seeking their party's nomination to challenge him. Also Tuesday, Walker said he hoped the $100 million could be delivered to Wisconsin schools in time to make safety upgrades by the time classes start this fall. You know, I've talked to educators, Dom, specifically principals, that said their safety proposals and requests for bids are being ignored by the Walker administration. So this $100 million that Walker inserted over at the Department of Justice, don't think it's going for the safety demands that educators are asking for, because I've been informed that is not the case.
844-967.
And that's breaking news. I just broke it for you.
Thank you, buddy. 844-967-2789. RJ from Madison, you are up. Thanks for calling. What do you got for us?
Hey, listen, this is Randy from Madison, formerly. Now I'm RJ. Anyhow, Dom, I've been listening to you guys since forever, okay, 2011, and that was the best soliloquy you ever gave. So good job. Stick with it. You know, the passion, being on point, hitting the points. I mean, that. What you just said in those 2 minutes there would make a great commercial against Walker. And Crute, sorry to see you bow out, but maybe in the future, you know, because I honestly thought you would have been the best choice for governor of Wisconsin. But I think you're doing really, really important work here with WRRD, you know, getting it going in Milwaukee, trying to get it in Madison, you know, live streaming throughout the country. You guys are doing amazing work.
Well, thank you for all those kind words. Yeah. Formerly Randy, now known as RJ.
Thanks, RJ. Appreciate it, man.
Hey, we take callers of all pseudonyms.
Pseudonyms.
John Doe Walker, is that you? I tell you what, we got a fine caller. She will be joining us next. She is a guest, Nicole Savard, Executive Director of Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin. And let's not forget, we got a couple of Republican senatorial candidates, Dom. They're going full personhood amendment.
Mark Sommerhauser reported GOP U.S. Senates tell group they want personhood law and no exceptions abortion ban.
You know, no harshness there whatsoever. I'm sure that's a winning platform for both Nurse Ratched and fake Republican Nicholson. Come back with us. We're Dom and Crute. We're the Devil's Advocates. That was nearly the best non-profane ranting I've ever heard you do. Nicole Savard joins us on the phone. Stick around, more Devil's Advocates.
Freak out. Nanny Mapley number 9. Mary had a little lamb.
What do you think of these online reports that say you had a love child in college?
I'm proud to have stood shoulder to shoulder with Governor Walker.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Juice, Mom! Juice, juice, juice! Mommy, why are we going to the store? Mom, I want juice! Mom! Juice, juice, juice! Mom!
Your child will have different needs at different stages of life, and that includes the car seat. See, car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's hard to dream when you're fighting for 15. This is Pizza Box Mike for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Check out fightfor15.org to get involved in the fight for 15.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Did you know you can take Wisconsin's Resistance Radio anywhere? Check us out on the TuneIn app under WRRD. I'll help you out. Hey, Alexa, play WRRD on the TuneIn app. You're welcome, everyone, and thank you for listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
I'm State Representative Jocasta Zamaripa.
And I'm Joel Clayfish.
Listen to us on the Joel and Jocasta Show, Saturdays at 3 p.m.
She's a Latina woman from the inner city of Milwaukee, and I'm a white guy from the suburbs. Diversity in the white guy. You are not going to believe what you hear on this show. I'm telling you, you're going to have to listen. News Talk, 1510 a.m., WRRD.
Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. The creator of Milwaukee's Mecca hardwood floor has passed away. Pop artist Robert Indiana was 89 years old. In addition to designing the floor for the Mecca, Indiana is best known worldwide for his love sculpture and image with the letters L-O-V-E. Indiana was also the creator of the Hope image in honor of President Barack Obama. And the Brewers continue their winning ways. They beat the Diamondbacks last night 3-1 in the first game of a 10-game homestand. They play Arizona again tonight in the second game of that 3-game series. Outside today, clearing skies and then partly cloudy tonight, lows in the upper 40s in Milwaukee, mid-50s in Madison. For tomorrow, mostly sunny with highs in the low 70s in Milwaukee, upper 70s in Madison. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Devil's Advocates, tackling the issues you're not allowed to talk about at the dinner table.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. We welcome back a guest, a fine one indeed, Nicole Savard. She is the Executive Director of Planned Parenthood Advocates here in the state of Wisconsin. Nicole, welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Nicole.
Nicole, we're talking about the horrendous record Governor Scott Walker has on women's reproductive rights. But every election year, he softens, seemingly, he worms his way and pretends like he's not what he is. Nicole, for the sake of our audience, can you please recount some of the highlights of women's reproductive health under Scott Walker?
Oh, my goodness. It's such a long list, and I have to give Governor Walker credit for being such an excellent politician on this issue, because he can talk out of both sides of his mouth on access to women's health care and abortion like no one else. So let's see, starting way back in his very first budget in 2011, he actually made it his top priority to kick Planned Parenthood out of the state women's health program. So a lot of your listeners, I'm sure, have heard about what's happening at the federal level with the federal family planning program and trying to kick Planned Parenthood out. And I'm sure everyone remembers the fight around the Affordable Care Act and trying to kick Planned Parenthood out of the Medicaid program. Well, Governor Walker did it right away when he first got elected. And we've been living under that sort of anti-access to healthcare regime ever since. He has passed and signed 6 or 7 new abortion restrictions in the state of Wisconsin. He has worked to restrict access to birth control. He repealed our comprehensive sex education law. He has done some things within the cervical and breast cancer prevention screening program that has removed Planned Parenthood from it. So the list goes on and on.
Well, Nicole, the governor of Iowa is pushing or signed into law a heartbeat ban, a 6-week abortion ban, before so many women would even realize they had been impregnated. Well, Scott Walker ran an ad in 2014, looked very earnest and talked about the tough choices women and their doctors had to make, and then was reelected and promptly turned around and signed a 20-week abortion ban that the federal government slapped back in the courts. I mean, this man has very little credibility. What he says in election years and what he does the following year, they don't often correspond.
That's absolutely correct. And I think, we've seen the evolution of Governor Walker as a politician. Back in his days in the state assembly, he was always one of the lead sponsors on bills that would have allowed, pharmacists to refuse to fill birth control prescriptions and taking money away from public health organizations like Planned Parenthood. And so he has this very, very long history. And I think he ran proudly on it back then. Now in his role as governor, he sees the same polls that we all see. His views on access to birth control and abortion are not in step with the state of Wisconsin. They just aren't. So he has to either hide, his true intent with these laws or face the political consequences of it.
Well, and Nicole, it seems like it's not predicated on science either. Scott Walker's attacks on reproductive health really don't reflect the current science. So many of his issues with birth control methods don't reflect the science. Is that problematic for a politician to use, the Bible or his interpretation thereof over the prevailing science?
I don't even know that the governor relies on a religious doctrine necessarily. He is relying on a political ideology that is meant to make healthcare decisions for women, really make all kinds of decisions for women. And it is not necessarily reflective of people of faith in this state either, many of which support Planned Parenthood, support access to birth control, even support access to safe and legal abortion services. So I think that so much of what the governor does is really manipulating the voters, playing politics with these issues that are so integral to a woman's ability to make economic and educational decisions for herself and her family. And I don't know that with all of the mobilization and engagement that's been happening over the last 2 years, if he's going to be able to get away with it again.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. That's Nicole Safar. She's the executive director of Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin. She joins us on the phone. Nicole, I guess I'm a little confused by some of these Republicans, and I guess in this case, Governor Walker's positions. I mean, how can you be against birth control and then against abortion? I mean, don't you think wouldn't there be some support for birth control? And then you mentioned a repeal of sex education law. I hadn't heard about that one. What did Governor Walker repeal with the sex education law?
So Wisconsin had some very basic standards for sex education that were passed in 2009, I believe, or 2010. And it essentially said that if a school district offered sex education, it didn't say that they had to offer it, but it said if they did offer it, it had to be 2 things. It had to be medically accurate and age appropriate. And then it gave, some guidelines about what that meant, talking about healthy relationships, talking about preventing the spread of STIs and preventing unintended pregnancy. But really what it came down to was those two things, medically accurate and age appropriate, which I think most of us agree are absolutely critical to giving young people information about how to make healthy decisions.
Right. So this is a problem. I mean, yes. I mean, before children become of the age to become sexually active and pregnant, I think that information should be imparted. What do you see? What is the reasoning for, to your understanding, for Republicans and conservatives to be against that?
I think some of it was just a backlash to anything that had happened before 2011 and sort of the wave of Republican leadership that came in. They sort of just reacted to so many of the policies that were passed before that as like, we can't agree on sex education because there are some Democrats who support that, or because Governor Doyle signed that law. So that's a piece of it. The other piece of it, I think, really is this old-fashioned view of politics going back to the culture wars of the 90s and this idea that we should be fighting about, issues that are surrounding sex and religion and guns. And, these are things that I think most reasonable people in Wisconsin have a sort of middle-of-the-road, moderate view on. And we've got Republican politicians who are just trying to incite this idea that isn't a reality for most of us on the ground.
Nicole, now we have two GOP U.S. Senate candidates, Senator Leah Vukmir and Kevin Nicholson, apparently endorsing personhood. Now, I haven't heard about this since Andre Jacques, I believe, was a supporter of this. Can you define that for our audience, and how would that impact, if that law was passed, how would that impact the ability of women to control their own bodies in the state of Wisconsin, should something like that pass?
So personhood is usually in the context of a constitutional amendment, and what it is, and we've seen it introduced in states, and we've seen it defeated in states like Mississippi and Colorado and California. It would amend our state constitution to give rights to a fertilized egg. So, at the moment that, and I'm going to reach into my sex education world right now, the moment, right, that an egg and a sperm connect and the egg is fertilized, the Personhood Amendment would say that fertilized egg has all the same rights as a person like you or I. And it would effectively make abortion completely illegal, regardless of the circumstance. It would make some forms of birth control, which might interrupt the fertilization process or the implantation process of that fertilized egg, illegal. It would make any sort of research with stem cells or with embryos that might be destroyed illegal. The ramifications of a policy like that are so broad that we could just spend a whole hour, I think, talking about them. And this sort of policy is so out of touch with the mainstream that we beat it in Mississippi, one of the most conservative pro-life states in the country. The voters overwhelmingly said no. This goes too far. So it is quite stunning in 2018 that we've got two candidates for the United States Senate who are endorsing this policy.
We've got Nicole Safar, Executive Director, Planned Parenthood Advocates, Wisconsin. A few more minutes on the phone. Nicole, I got to ask you, what do you think the current status is for women's reproductive health? Are women able to access these things, talking about these healthcare clinics, Planned Parenthood or others, geographically? I mean, can people get to the clinics?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I think that I'll start off by saying, at Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin, we have 21 health centers across the state. And despite what folks may hear in the news, we are open and serving patients in those health centers every single day. that being said, Wisconsin is in a real healthcare crisis. We have healthcare deserts in a lot of the more rural parts of the state and in some of the more urban communities. We do not have enough healthcare access right now, and these policies that Governor Walker and Republican leadership have passed in Wisconsin and that we're seeing espoused by the Trump administration are going in the wrong direction. Repealing the Affordable Care Act, taking away women's access to health care at Planned Parenthood. This is not what the voters want. And we don't even have enough OBGYNs in the state of Wisconsin. There are women who live in the northern part of the state that are driving an hour to a hospital to have their babies. Like, we've got a real problem here. So I think that we should be focusing on some of these more common sense solutions that the voters of the state support, that we know people support access to preventative health care at Planned Parenthood, and stop making all of this a political fight for, I don't even know who it's for anymore.
Well, Nicole, it's hard to pretend like Planned Parenthood doesn't have a political target on its back. Let me ask you, in this elective cycle, you talk about voting out the Republicans. Well, I keep hearing about blue waves and blue tsunamis coming. If I had to guess, Nicole, I might say there is a pink wave coming. I want to get your interpretation. How's your group doing? How's membership been? How have donors been in the age of Trump and Scott Walker?
So I've been working for Planned Parenthood in Wisconsin for the past decade, and I've been through a few election cycles, a couple that we've won, mostly those that we've lost. And I have never felt this sense of energy and engagement that we're seeing right now. We're seeing new and diverse leaders popping up all across the country, all across the state. We're seeing people talk about issues like gun safety, like Planned Parenthood, like what does new leadership look like, both within progressive politics and outside of it, in ways that I've never seen before. So I am so excited. And Planned Parenthood is a nonpartisan organization, and we support all kinds of candidates that stand with us. But there are all of these incredible women running for office, women who were not activists before, women who are, living their normal lives like 99.9% of the people in our state, who've been engaged since Donald Trump took office, who've been speaking out about their own experiences. And I just want to give a shout out to two of those women who are Planned Parenthood patients and who are running for state assembly and state senate on their Planned Parenthood stories. Like, it is just incredible to see people open up their personal feelings and their personal lives to say, hey, this organization matters to me, and it should matter to you too.
Nicole, if people want to get involved in Planned Parenthood advocates here in Wisconsin, give them the website, please.
Yeah, it's ppawi.org, and you can sign up for our action alerts. You can find out about events that are happening in your community. You can come volunteer with us. We have so much fun, and we're going to be doing a lot of exciting stuff this summer.
And Nicole, if you don't mind, I don't mean to put them or you on the spot, but name the candidates.
The candidates, yes. So Gina Walkington, who is running for state assembly in just outside of Kenosha, and then Lori Hawkins is running for state senate in Racine. And both of these women have been to D.C. lobbying Paul Ryan to fund Planned Parenthood, have been speaking out, have been interviewed by the New York Times. They are phenomenal women. And if you want to support someone locally here in our state who is doing this incredible work on the ground, I highly recommend the two of them.
Nicole Safar, thank you so much, Executive Director, Planned Parenthood Advocates, Wisconsin. We're the Devil's Advocates. We'll be right back.
God needs everybody's mine and mine and mine.
Frankly, I am sick of coming down to the Senate floor to explain to Republicans what Planned Parenthood does. I am sick of pointing out again and again that federal dollars do not fund abortion services at Planned Parenthood or anywhere else.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
Hi, I'm Becky with Bounce Milwaukee, a progressive, local, family-owned entertainment center. We just want to remind you what it's like to be a kid again. Come on in for all ages fun. Bounce in our giant inflatables, race up the rock wall, dominate your friends in laser tag, or just relax in our bar or our massage chairs. Open 6 days a week with extended adult-only weekend hours. Find us at bouncemilwaukee.com.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
The Devil's Advocates, rock and roll political commentary in a top 40 world.
Do, re, mi, the first 3 notes just happen to
Terrible.
So when need to bring down.
I can see listeners dropping off. Let's get some callers before we lose everybody. Betsy from Madison, you're up. Thanks for calling.
That will bring us back to do.
Terrible.
Hey, at least we didn't do Edelweiss.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We've got a patented system. We also do another step that most people don't do. We have a double rotating brush machine that we use when we pre-treat the carpet. So this helps dig up any of that stuff that's deeper in your carpet that the vacuum doesn't get. We're going to provide that intermediary step before we clean with our empowered water.
Call Zero Res today, 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean. We are the People for People Corporation. We are a registered 501c3, totally legit. What do? We take your uncapped, dark money, tax-deductible donations, private or corporate, always anonymous, and we turn it into free speech. You know, educate Wisconsin through advertising, which may or may not be in coordination with the candidate. Isn't that illegal? It should be, but it's not under Wisconsin law, thanks Governor Scott Walker. Politicians in Wisconsin are beholden to the millionaire and billionaire sugar daddy and sugar mamas that finance their campaigns. Time to make them beholden to we the people for People Corporation. Give your tax-deductible donation to the real patriots, the People for People Corporation, P4PPC.org, P, the number 4, PPC.org. Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
The Devil's Advocates, radio for the 99%.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. You can join us on the party line, talk or text at 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I want to thank our most recent guest, Nicole Safar, Executive Director, Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin. A fine guest indeed. And Dom, I want to promote a little event. Our friends at Our Wisconsin Revolution, in conjunction with the College Dems over in Waukesha, they're holding a governor candidate forum tomorrow night. That's May 23rd, 7 to 9 p.m. at the UW Waukesha Northview campus. That's 1500 North University Avenue in Waukesha. And so far, if I understand their email correctly, Dom, they've confirmed Mike McCabe, Andy Gronick, Kathleen Beinhout, and Matt Flynn. There will also be lieutenant gubernatorial candidates Mandela Barnes and Kurt Kober at the big event. Go see them tomorrow night in Waukesha, 7 to 9 p.m., a governor candidate forum.
And Crudy, breaking news from the New York Times. Michael Cohen's business partner agrees to cooperate as part of a plea deal. A significant business partner of Cohen has quietly agreed to cooperate with the government as a potential witness, a development that could be used as leverage to pressure Mr. Cohen to work with the special counsel examining Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. Under the agreement, the partner, Evgeny Friedman, a Russian immigrant who is known as the Taxi King, will avoid jail time and will assist government prosecutors in state and federal investigations, according to a person briefed on the matter. Cohen's conduct was initially examined by Mueller that led to Trump's victory and then referred to the United States Attorney's Office in Manhattan. Last month, federal agents, of course, carried out search warrants on Cohen's home. Let's get to the deal. Friedman has been Cohen's partner in the taxi business for years.
Hey, you've been my partner for some number of years, Dom. You're not turning state's evidence, are you?
We gotta do something wrong first, Crudy. He's been, managing cabs for him even after New York City regulators barred Friedman last year from continuing to manage medallions. He was disbarred earlier this month, had been accused of failing to pay more than $5 million in taxes and faced 4 counts of criminal tax fraud and 1 count of grand larceny, all B felonies. Each carries a maximum prison sentence of up to 25 years in prison.
Ouch!
Instead, he appeared in court in Albany on Tuesday and pleaded guilty to a single count of evading only $50,000 worth of taxes. He faces 5 years of probation if he fulfills the terms of his agreement.
Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. We're always breaking the news around here. That's a good one, my little buddy Dominic. Now it's the happy hour, man. Normally that's when we break out the booze, but perhaps today we'll take a differing tone. I'd like to talk about our inebriated friends here in the state of Wisconsin. Perhaps that's not such a good thing.
Wisconsin, go drunk, you're home.
Come back with us. We're the Devil's Advocates. We're nearly sober.
Been taking heat my whole life.
There won't be so much because the courts agree with us, too. What's going on in this country?
Hello, friends. Tom Malanzi here from Teamsters Local 200. Here's a fact. United States Labor Department statistics show union workers receive, on average, 30% more in pay and benefits than non-union workers doing the same job. If you're a worker interested in receiving better wages and benefits and respect at your workplace, give Teamsters Local 200 a call at 414-771-6363 and ask to speak to a Teamsters Local 200 organizer today.
My name is Adam Holmes, and I'm proud to be union.
Adam, you're Director of Training for Painters District Council 7. What do you do?
I'm making sure that we're investing in our members. We're providing the safest and best trained painters, glazers, drywall finishers, and trade show workers in the industry, and we also do that at no cost to the taxpayers.
Why hire unions?
Because it costs less to be safe. We keep the contractor on the right side of OSHA and help keep the workmen's comp rates affordable. Join us, Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've messed up your daughter's haircut. Do you A, get spiritual?
Mom, where's the mirror?
Beauty is within. Oh.
B, find the positives?
Less time blow drying, more time texting?
Or C, show empathy?
Mom, you really don't have to.
Twinsies!
I kinda love it. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Becky with Bounce Milwaukee, a progressive, local, family-owned entertainment center. We just want to remind you what it's like to be a kid again. Come on in for all ages fun. Bounce in our giant inflatables, race up the rock wall, dominate your friends in laser tag, or just relax in our bar or our massage chairs. Open 6 days a week with extended adult-only weekend hours. Find us at bouncemilwaukee.com.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Russia probe, North Korea summit. I'm Ann Cates. A significant business partner of Michael Cohen, President Trump's personal attorney, has agreed to cooperate with state and federal prosecutors as a potential witness. New York Times correspondent William Rashbaum says Evgeny Friedman signed off on a plea deal linked to tax charges.
Obviously, if the government is willing to knock down the charges from 5 B felonies to 1 C felony and give him no jail time, that would suggest that they think he's got something to offer.
The fate of the U.S.-North Korea summit may be up in the air.
Sitting next to South Korea's President Moon Jae-in, President Trump less confident than Moon that his Singapore summit with Kim Jong-un will take place June 12th.
Maybe it'll happen later. Maybe it'll happen at a different time.
Moon's representatives who delivered the Kim invitation in person in March said then Kim was willing to denuclearize, but were not clear what that meant. Now that the North is saying it won't give up already developed nukes, that's the bottom line to Mr. Trump.
It must take place. That's what we're talking about. It must take place. But I have a very strong idea, and I have very strong opinions on the subject. I also have very strong opinions that North Korea has a chance to be a great country.
Bob Costantini, Washington.
Texas has convened the first in a series of roundtables to discuss school safety and mass shootings. Governor Greg Abbott says the time has come to end the senseless slaughter.
The fact of the matter is, this is something where people across the entire philosophical spectrum can come together and reach solutions like what we're going to be talking about beginning today. Whether you are a Republican or a Democrat, whether you are pro-gun or believe in more gun regulations, the reality is that we all want guns out of the hands of those who would try to murder our children.
On Wall Street, the Dow fell 179 points, the Nasdaq off 16. I'm Ann Cates.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
The Devil's Advocates.
Tom Perez, chair of the Democratic National Committee. Scott Walker went on something of a Twitter storm, very Trumpian. What do you think this foretells for Scott Walker's future as the governor of the state of Wisconsin?
Wisconsinites have woken up. He talked about we need an optimistic message. How can you make people feel optimistic when you take away their health care? How can you make people optimistic when you take away the right to bargain? How can you make people feel optimistic when you're gerrymandering the heck out of districts?
Radio for the 99%.
491 Bible.
Florida's Python elimination program is marking a new milestone.
The sign posted in Homestead, Florida says history is made. 1,000 Burmese pythons wrangled and produced for wildlife managers since the roundup was started a year ago by the South Florida Water Management District. It was an 11-foot, 2-inch round python brought into great celebration to highlight the goal of protecting native wildlife in the Florida Everglades. But the word capture might suggest something other than the fact that almost all of the big snakes have met their demise. Python hunter Brian Hargrove, who made the milestone capture, lives by a rule.
Just enjoy it, you know. I mean, of course not the end result, but the process.
I'm Jan Johnson.
Recent crashes have shaken the public's confidence in self-driving cars. A poll finds the number of people who distrust autonomous vehicles is up sharply. I'm Ann Cates.
Only in the forest can you see this. And this. And this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
I didn't know it could do that!
Because one trip to the forest can spark a world of difference.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire.
Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, canoeing, fishing, or camping. Or create your own adventure with family and friends, and you might just see this. Your moment's out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Distance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Several Republicans are saying they would like to see Paul Ryan step down as Speaker before the end of his term. Ryan says he plans to run through the tape, which evidently means he does not plan to step down. A story in Politico says Ryan has, quote, run out of juice and faces questions about whether he can remain in the job until Election Day. The story quotes a senior Republican lawmaker who wants a vote on the House Speaker to take place soon. The GOP source said the Republican conference is in open warfare. Budget Director Mick Mulvaney told the Weekly Standard that a vote on Speaker would also trigger a vote on Nancy Pelosi for the Democrats, which would be good for Republicans. Outside today, clearing skies and then partly cloudy tonight, lows in the upper 40s in Milwaukee, mid-50s in Madison. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Kroot.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, we're sliding into the 5 o'clock happy hour, and it's usually brought to us by beer.
We love beer. This is Wisconsin, man. This is Brew City in Milwaukee. The city's named after beer.
You know, for two guys that so enjoy the party, in fact, we've got a party line here. It's 844-96-PARTY. That's 844-967-2789, right? We named the phone line after a good time.
Well, it is the political party, so it's a double entendre.
Oh, of course it is. As I said, perhaps we're not the proper messengers on this one, but we're going to take a crack at it. Erin Gloria Ryan from the Daily Beast. The headline here, Wisconsin, go drunk, you're home. I'll read from the body of the piece. One winter evening earlier this year in a nondescript small town off a nondescript highway in northern Wisconsin, a male relative of mine suffered a mild heart attack while getting a fresh beer from his fridge. On his way to the hospital, the ambulance carrying him hit a deer. Another ambulance had to take everybody the rest of the way. Everybody turned out fine, except, I suppose, the deer. Every aspect of this story screams Wisconsin. The deer, the heart attack, but mostly the beer. This week, 24/7 Wall Street released its list of the top 20 drunkest cities in America. 10 of the top 20 drunkest cities in America, and all of the top 4 are in the Badger State. You know what my immediate thought? I had seen that polling also, Dom. Only 10.
Come on. That's terrible.
Wisconsin's prominence on this list seems puzzling to a person who isn't familiar with Wisconsin or its alcohol-centric culture. Maybe people drink a lot there because it's cold, but a lot of other nearby states also have crap weather without using alcohol to cope. It could be the state's German heritage, but German descendants live all over the U.S. Wisconsin has a lot of college towns, but so does California. What makes Wisconsin different? What's wrong with it?
It's the politics?
I pose the question to a random assortment of people who have lived or currently live in Wisconsin. Why so drunk? And it seems there isn't a single reason that drinking is so central to the culture there. There's several reasons. As the author writes, I was born in Wisconsin, lived the first 18 years of my life there. My home state has produced a stunning array of historical weirdos, from zealot Joseph McCarthy, old tail gunner Joe, to murderer Ed Gein, to artist Georgie O'Keefe, to my brother, who for Mother's Day gave our mom a coffee mug with his own stern face on the side of it with the word family emblazoned over the corner. The tallest point in Wisconsin is a little over 1,000 feet above sea level, but the glacier that carved the Great Plains skipped a triangle of land in the southwestern part of the state. That's God country. God's country. So driving from Madison towards La Crosse takes a person through an almost eerie undersea landscape. We got a whole lot of Lake Superior lakefront in case anybody feels like swimming in water almost too cold to drink. Lake Michigan lakefront, if anyone prefers the excitement of swimming in water that may contain pee that drifted north from Chicago. And 11,000 freshwater lakes in case anybody wants to smell like algae and maybe get swimmer's itch. The town where I grew up has recently seen an influx of Amish and Mennonites snapping up cheap land and farming it with horses. So I guess you could say it's gentrifying in parts. The horses, the Amish, Tom, is that the whole Andre Jacques' brother
no sex with
on
the horses
election night? Back to the piece here. It's politically weird, too. The Republican Party was born in Wisconsin. The John Birch Society is based there. But also, my Norwegian great-grandfather used to have socialists over to his farm after church to sit around and complain about the capitalist, like a modern DSA meeting, except with fewer wrist tattoos. Anybody who's seen Wayne's World can tell you that the city of Milwaukee has elected 3 socialist mayors. Speaker of the House and Ayn Rand fanboy Paul Ryan is from Wisconsin, but so has dyed-in-the-wool liberal Tammy Baldwin, the first openly gay woman elected to the U.S. Senate. One more thing here. Wisconsin contains multitudes. In a state with such a wide range of ideology, drinking is a neutral activity.
Right.
Here's a quote, Tom. Drinking is open to anyone who's interested, requires limited skill. I'm sorry, I'm missing a part.
Requires a limited skill set, can be done at any time, anywhere, is socially encouraged, and is a pastime we've internalized and embraced as part of our state identity, says Rachel, a teacher in her mid-30s who lives in Burlington. Wisconsin was one of the last states to raise the drinking age to 21 in 1986.
Tony Earl!
And that was only because the federal government threatened to withhold highway funding. My parents met at a bar in 1978 when my mother was 18. Underage people are still allowed to drink in bars in Wisconsin, provided they are accompanied by a parent, guardian, or spouse who is of age, and their of-age companion does the ordering. That means that someone could order their 5-year-old a beer, theoretically, but during my summer's waitressing, I never saw anyone try to pull anything crazy like that.
Well, it was my nephew's 4th birthday last weekend.
Hunting and fishing.
Leinenkugel, man, that young snapper.
Hunting and fishing culture contributes as well. While it's probably ill-advised to get hammered before deer opener, the entire point of ice fishing is sitting in a small, uninsulated room that isn't your house and getting drunk while staring at a hole in the ice and listening to the Packer game on an FM radio.
I think our fans prefer political talk on the AM side, but please continue.
The state's tradition of beer brewing means that alcohol is cheap, too, as Cullen, an Eau Claire resident in his late 30s, points out. Mixed drinks are $2.50 and a beer is $1.50. Those are the real prices, he says. A fancy beer might set a person back $4. You can get half drunk for the price of a single movie ticket.
If you do it right, Dom, you can get drunk at the movies in Wisconsin.
The weather certainly factor into Wisconsin's drinking habit. 6 months of the year is reliably terrible weather-wise, driving people indoors to socialize. Brianna, a bartender, says that people feeling economic pressure often drown their sorrows in her bar. And Tyrell, who has since moved to Minneapolis, notes, Wisconsin is boring as hell. There's nothing to do except get drunk and play the lottery. There's also the Midwestern stoicism factor. It's the deep, pervasive culture of immigrant Scandinavians. We don't talk with people, we talk about people and eat/drink our feelings. And stoic German farmers don't talk about the feeling. There's only one, right? PO'd, writes Sarah, who has since moved to Colorado. This results in kids and families not knowing how to reconcile, say, I love you, share real feelings, and ask real questions, etc.
I love you, man.
I love you too, man. Drinking is often the center of family celebrations, too. My extended family's Christmas Eve party, traditionally held at my grandparents' house down the road and around the corner from where I grew up, would go from wholesome fun to extremely lit party right around when it started getting dark in the mid-afternoon. My uncles would get in tipsy, borderline nonsensical debates about things like, who is the Paul Wellstone of the Minnesota Twins outfield? My grandmother would sing Volga Boatman's song in an opera falsetto, a demonstration of how she used to sing that way to get her 6 sons to settle down because all of her sons hated that singing. Unsupervised, my cousins and I would do things like mix all the condiments into a tall glass of water and dare my brother to drink it, and he would. We'd play extremely competitive games of balderdash that escalated to shouting. We'd find glitter, take it out of the cupboards. We'd play hide and seek, but with screaming. We'd put on our winter boots and run around in the snow, chased by our dogs, their breathing rising as steam as they bounded past us. Some of my best childhood memories are from nights of the adults that were Christmas drunk. Wisconsin's drinking culture isn't necessarily accompanied by the sort of aggression one might associate with the bar district. One Eau Claire resident who has worked in a busy bar downtown in the second drunkest city in America for the last 6 years says he's never seen a fight. We have a drinking culture, he says, but it's not vomiting wackos and aggressive creeps. It's just what they do.
They're not doing it right.
Brian, a resident of Gatesburg, adds, Wisconsin is the only state that consume excess amounts of alcohol and love their neighbor at the same time. Most states would start a war. Wisconsinites love each other when they're drunk, and Wisconsin performatively loves how drunk it is. The stores and airports in Madison and Milwaukee display hooded sweatshirts and beer koozies that read, Drink Wisconsibly. Drink Wisconsibly is to Wisconsin what I Heart New York is to New York. But because it's so proud of itself, I take the entire drunkest cities list with a grain of salt. Wisconsin lacks the requisite shame that often accompanies intoxication and thus would lean in on any survey that would allow them to self-report their drunkenness. We're just not embarrassed about it, says Noah, who grew up in Madison. Minnesotans have a deeper sense of shame about things in general, perhaps specifically their football team. So while it is possible that Wisconsin isn't as dramatically drunker than its neighbors as advertised, sure, but I sit here typing this on a laptop, balanced on a pillow shaped like my home state. I know deep down in my heart that the bars back home are brimming with people Wisconsinably drunk on $2 beers, and that neither the deer nor the drinks will know better than to stay off the roads.
I recommend the Roman coin.
The Daily Beast, Aaron Gloria Ryan.
You know, I've heard you clearly read before. Are you a little inebriated now, my little buddy?
What are you talking about? No, I mean,
it is the happy hour.
The Wisconsinably, you know, the terminologies and the writing. It's I get a drink, but we do. I mean, this state is a drinking state. We have embraced it.
Are you proud of it? I'm kind of proud.
You know,
I got to admit, I'm kind of proud.
I'm down, you know, people for the party, but, you know, be responsible. There's a lot of accidents out there. You know, drunk driving is a problem in this state. But I guess I'm conflicted because, you know, with my position on legalization of recreational marijuana, and we hear, you know, Governor Walker and people say, like Sessions, oh, good people don't smoke marijuana. Well, what about people that are drinking themselves damn near to death? Is alcohol the gateway drug? I know Governor Walker just the other day, oh, marijuana is a gateway drug. You know, what, you do some marijuana, next thing you know, you're shooting heroin into your eyeballs, I think is what the governor thinks. But, you know, what impact does the brewing and the bar industry and lobby have on the state of Wisconsin? There's lots of things involved.
Dominic, light beer is the gateway drug. the brandy old fashions. Come back with us. We are the Devil's Advocates. We drink it here, because we're thirsty. More Devil's Advocates on the other side. 844-967-2789.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
I've not yet begun to defile myself.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA not only in my state but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Businesses today thrive and survive with technology. At Five Nines, we provide businesses with the IT tools they need to stay relevant. We offer enterprise-level solutions at competitive prices. I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Let us manage your IT so you can focus on more important things, like running your business. Check us out at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Welcome back. A good friend of ours, a fine sponsor. He's Lenny Mattioli. He's Crazy E-Bike Lenny, and he's always selling e-bikes. Lenny, welcome back to the show, man. I got to tell you, I've been missing your ads on the radio. What happened, Lenny?
Any potential advertisers that were considering using Devil's Advocate, listen to this. We ran an ad, 10 days, we sold every one. Every single one.
The Devil's Advocates.
Merchandising! Every single one.
The Devil's Advocates. We drink when we toast when we drink.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Apparently this state drinks all the time. 844-967-2789.
We are not ashamed. I feel no shame.
No, you don't feel shame?
Buddy, you're pound for pound. You might be the best little drinker I ever met in my life.
Yeah, I've been drinking a long time. I mean, I used to ride my pedal bike to the local Tavy. Literally, I was, 15 years old. I didn't have a license yet. I would ride my pedal bike up to the bar, and I would be served by the bartender owner of the bar/house, one of the attached kind of deals. And my money was green. And I would be served by the owner, and his daughters were older than me in high school. But
would you hit on the daughters?
I did.
Hey, good-looking girl.
No, man, I tell you what.
You want to go to prom?
What I learned was how to behave myself in places that I wasn't necessarily supposed to be. You go to the bars out in the country in Wisconsin, they'll serve you whatever you want as long as you got cash in your pocket. At least that was my experience. And but I learned how to play bar dice, learned how to play cricket, learned how to play AC/DC on the jukebox. It was all country music out there. So for me, it was Back in Black. But it was what we did. There'll be no wine until it's time when you're working on the farm, man. So you work all day, and then at the end of the night, you go and you have some beer. That's what it was.
You remember my buddy before you were my buddy in college, Elliot?
Yeah.
Sometimes he'd bring home like the $4 box wine. We'd be winos for the night.
Yeah.
And then what was the Bernie's Blast-Offs? We, of course, roommates in La Crosse, but you go down to 3rd Street, and Bernie'd play the bottles. You get a shot of Mad Dog 2020 in your beer.
And drop it in the beer, yep.
It'd be like 40 cents.
Oh, it was nasty. But even in La Crosse, of course. I mean, we were, it was Cleary's. There's some bars up there. I'm 18 years old and walking into bars and drinking. I mean, that's what we did.
Well, the drinking age changed shortly before we went to college. And, I know as a big kid, I didn't get carded much. I mean, hell, there was the one place, what was it, Broadway Joe's bar/laundry man. You'd take your dirty skivvies in there, and they would have progressive happy hour. They would start serving beers for a nickel.
Right.
By the time they got to a quarter, they'd have to put me in the dryer for a spin cycle, Dom.
844-967-2789. Ignacio, you are next. Thanks for calling. What do you got?
You're one of those left coats lightweights.
I think the guys in Congress are drunk, man. They repealed the protections for the banking industry. I mean, I thought these guys were supposed to be helping us. What the hell? I mean, look, I love the country.
What gives you that idea, Ignacio? I mean, that's a cute thought, when you were back in grade school and they're telling you about the 3 branches of government. But what gives you any indication that Congress or representatives thereof care about you?
Well, they're supposed to represent the people, right?
They're elected by the people.
What a quaint notion.
But the thing is it's just insanity. I mean, every time I turn on the phone or look at the news, it's something stupid. I mean, these guys must be drunk. They must be toasted all the time. It's insane, man.
I'm so sorry about that, Ignacio. Thought you were done. It is insane. But maybe that's why, as I mentioned briefly before, maybe that's why we drink like we do here in the state of Wisconsin. We are politically torn. We got Scott Walker and we got Tammy Baldwin. You got a hard right, you got a hard left. And, here we are jumping from one foot to the other, spinning around, just trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And at the end of the day, sometimes we just don't care. We just want to have a couple of beers and forget about it all.
Did I understand you're trying to book your buddy Ron Johnson for the show? The man doesn't know the drinking age, but normally he brings beer.
He normally does. I'm working on perhaps next week getting Mr. Ron Johnson in studio with us. It's tentative now, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. It's been a while. What about your booking, man? Where's Tammy Baldwin?
Tammy who?
What?
Tammy who? Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. You're always our fine guest on the phones. Toll free, 844-967-2789.
Looks like somebody forgot there's a rule against alcoholic beverages.
Well, what the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
I know. Let's have a spelling contest.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Ah, the bridge is out and there are scat holes everywhere. Come on. What's wrong with you? Listen to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Saturdays for Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk with Dr. Tim Slecker, 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the voice of the voiceless, champion of the working class. Earl Ingram's Saturday show is live from 12 to 3 p.m. Then Right Meets Left with the Joel and Joe Costa Show. Republican State Rep Joel Clayfish and Democratic State Rep Joe Costa Zamaripa go toe-to-toe from 3 to 4. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Ignacio, what do you got for us today?
Hey, I quit paying attention for like maybe one day, and all hell breaks loose. That goes to show me I got to pay attention every single day to your radio program, or else who knows what'll happen.
If you don't listen to the Devil's Advocates 3 hours every day, Nacho, you're missing a lot.
You got that right. I just learned that today. I turned it on and I'm listening, and you really just rocked my world today. I was just totally blown away.
Save the $2 on tomorrow's paper. Listen to the Devil's Advocates today.
Totally blown away.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. The use of body cameras by the Milwaukee Police Department is showing how some officers can react improperly while on the job. Video footage of the arrest and tasing of Milwaukee Bucks player Sterling Brown could be released soon. Mayor Tom Barrett expressed concerns yesterday about the actions of the officers involved. Brown did not appear combative or threatening in the video, according to sources who have seen it. And the Brewers continue their winning ways. They beat the Diamondbacks last night 3-1 in the first game of a 10-game homestand. They play Arizona again tonight in the second game of that 3-game series. Outside today, clearing skies and then partly cloudy tonight, lows in the upper 40s in Milwaukee, mid-50s in Madison. For tomorrow, mostly sunny with highs in the low 70s in Milwaukee, upper 70s in Madison. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The big and tall of political talk. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show in the midst of a happy hour. Dom, I got a little piece here I'd like to introduce into evidence. I think the author of said piece, I think he was doing some day drinking.
Why is that?
Gregory Humphrey writes, why Democrats should embrace Foxconn. Foxconn, yes! I'm going to read from this piece. You can always join in here at 844-967-2789. See if you agree with the logic of the author, Gregory Humphrey. I'm going to read. The current lineup of Democratic candidates for governor remind me of some relatives who would visit my parents on a lazy Sunday afternoon. Somehow the topic of whether always would come up and no one ever seemed pleased with it. One aunt in particular always thought it was too windy. She seemed unaware that wind allowed for my kites to take flight in grassy fields. Yeah, this whole article of flight in grassy fields. I read on. Meanwhile, the candidates seeking the party nomination seem to be fixated on Foxconn, the economic powerhouse planned for Racine County. They seem to be unable or unwilling to consider that this new enterprise is the exact type of updraft our state economy could really use. As a consequence, some Democratic voters are wondering what to do when it comes to the summer primary. The constant scorn and ridicule against Foxconn by the candidates runs counter to what some voters consider to be the only shining example of leadership shown by Governor Scott Walker. While I understand the need for a candidate to connect with voters and curry favor for the primary, I also sincerely wish that Democrats would carry a message about the greater long-term benefits that this liquid crystal display manufacturing campus would bring to our state. I wish there would be a complete presentation about Foxconn. Well, you could have had public hearings. The governor chose not to. You know, hustle, hustle, fast, fast, and all that kind of stuff. I read on. Foxconn's investment in Mount Pleasant came without the state needing to pay significant upfront costs. No, we got it on the VIG for $4.5 billion, I keep reading. Furthermore, state money comes only after the jobs are created. I have not been able to line up with any of the numerous candidates seeking the nomination. As a Politico, it's been hard to sit back and not align with someone, especially given the political climate which greets us hourly, it seems, with a new outrage. While I have deep feelings about the troubling outcomes regarding voter ID, Act 10, and school vouchers, I also have deep regret that the candidates seem unwilling to grasp the many benefits that Foxconn will create for our state. Dom, I'm going to read a little further here. This gets a little deep. As I've watched the months pass and the dialogue only harden, it appears that state Democrats might have a problem similar to Republicans, having long argued that Republicans need to better work at their ability to compromise. It is also apparent that Democrats need to embrace pragmatism, policy choices that can be sold as a middle path going forward, so to avoid the deep rancor that follows purely partisan moves is what always best serves citizens. Each of the parties has failed to achieve what our state most needs when it comes to the art of governing. When it comes to Foxconn, it seems from the perspective of this desk, the candidates want to find a wedge issue from which to showcase themselves. For instance, I am a decades-long admirer of Matt Flynn. I served as Door County Chair during his bid for the U.S. Senate. I know Flynn to be smart, gracious, and having the leadership qualities that would serve him well in the State House. But I am flummoxed by his stand on Foxconn. I really want to support him, but cannot square how he lacks vision about this matter. Candidates say the money spent on Foxconn could have made countless investments in small businesses or in educational projects. Yes. To them, I would argue the same as about the flaw in the GOP tax plans. Providing smaller amounts of money scattered about does not have the powerful economic impact that concentrated money and policy direction allows for when it comes to the larger social need. Democrats correctly talk about those who do not have the job they wish, are underemployed, or are unable to meet the needs because of wages that are too low. Many of those struggling are parents who grasp the fact that jobs of the future for their children are the type that Foxconn will bring to the state, and still more than that will spin off as a result. The latter point is already happening, as Tom Still pointed out in the Wisconsin State Journal. Here's a little inset, Dom. The company announced 28 subcontractors, mostly Walker donors to my understanding, and suppliers for the Town of Mount Pleasant project May 7th, and all but one of those companies is based in Wisconsin. The only non-Wisconsin firm is a trucking company in Rockford, Illinois, just across the border. Those contractors and suppliers will tackle about $100 million worth of work in the opening phase of Foxconn project and draw their workers directly and indirectly from 60 of Wisconsin's 72 counties in cities such as Black River Falls in the west, Marathon in central Wisconsin, Neenah and Seymour in the Fox Valley, and across southeast Wisconsin. Those companies will work with general contractors M&W and Gilbane, as the Racine County project projected to be the size of 11 Lambeau Fields embarks on what is likely to be a 4-year build-out. Dom, help me carry it home. Again, Gregory Humphrey Urban Milwaukee Online Daily.
But what we cannot see at this time, but which will follow in the months and years to come, is the economic stimulation that this focused proposal will have on the state's economy. During the debate in the state legislature, one of the points made that should not be discounted is that Foxconn has a record of producing robust, healthy economic outcomes for the places where they have a factory.
Especially in the suicide net business.
Though it is true I am an optimist by nature, it needs to be underscored by facts clearly show how Foxconn has created not only good paying jobs, but also economic expansion for the regions where they set up a business site. The focal point of state candidates should be on how to steer our educational system to meet the needs of the tech era, making sure our fellow citizens are prepared for the skilled jobs of the future and they get the assistance they need to make the challenges of the modern world cannot be overstated. Instead, we hear about Foxconn and the undermining of this public-private partnership, the very type of partnership which we need more of across our state. Let's use the campaign to address why these combined interests can work to secure good jobs and lift our tax base instead of undermining the use of tax incentives, something that is done all over the nation. Make that the world. I sincerely want a new governor, a Democratic governor, but I also want honest, objective discussions about where our country is headed, how jobs can be created, and the ways to educate future workers. Though I am not a one-issue voter, I also am not able to throw aside facts and logic for a political bandwagon headed in the wrong direction. All right, Gregory Humphrey. I got a response here a little bit, Crude. I got something to say about your facts, Mr. Humphrey, and logic, Mr. Gregory Humphrey, and I pull for you the Legislative Fiscal Bureau from Bob Lang regarding the Foxconn bill. And I'm going to turn briefly to page 17 and page 18. Now, Gregory, I don't know your background, but I've been in business a little bit. I understand a little bit about how money works. Let's start with this. Several points should be noted regarding the Department of Administration's analysis. First, the figures should be viewed as an approximate timeline. Remember these timelines. So these are approximate timelines of cash flows associated with the Foxconn project. Assuming that
when we get paid back eventually?
Yes. Assuming
that kind of timeline?
Assuming the project proceeds in accordance with the assumptions, they should not be viewed as precise state fiscal effects of the bill. So these all, right away, the timeline, they're assumptions, number one. Number two, any cash flow analysis that covers a period of nearly 30 years must be considered highly speculative. This is from the LFB. Highly speculative, Gregory Humphrey, especially for a manufacturing facility and equipment that may have a limited useful life. What were screens like 30 years ago, Gregory? What do you think it's going to be like 30 years from now? I continue. Technological advances and changes in Foxconn's market share, operating procedures, and product mix could significantly affect employment and wages at the proposed facility over time. Also, state law changes could affect the estimated amount of tax collections received from the additional economic activity, and any future state assistance that may be provided to Foxconn would affect the analysis. Yeah, no doubt. In addition, investment analysis typically uses a discounted cash flow methodology. Stay with me, folks. This is important. Investment analysis typically uses a discounted cash flow methodology to account for the cost of capital. The DOA analysis expresses all amounts in current dollars and does not utilize a discounted rate for future cash flows. Depending on what discount rate is used, something amount accounting for the cost of capital could push the break-even point for the project further into the future. On the other hand, the analysis did not assume any wage inflation, which could result in greater future cash flows to the state in a shorter break-even period. The DOA analysis also assumed that all the construction period and ongoing jobs associated with the project would be filled by Wisconsin residents. However, the Ernst & Young study notes that the job estimates for the project described above represent positions that would be located in the state but could be filled by residents or non-residents. Since the facility would be located in the southeastern part of the state, it is likely some of the new positions would be filled by Illinois residents. Because Wisconsin has an income tax reciprocity agreement with Illinois, the wage income of Illinois residents who work in the state is taxed only by Illinois and not Wisconsin. However, Wisconsin would likely receive some sales tax revenue from Illinois residents who commute to Wisconsin on a regular basis. Oh, great, we get that. The basis of Wisconsin's annual payments to Illinois under reciprocity agreement is a benchmark study of the 1998 returns conducted by the University of Michigan. Absent a new benchmark study, it is assumed that 10% of the project projected new jobs would be filled by Illinois residents. 10%. Only 10%, they're saying, filled by Illinois residents. An estimated payback period would be delayed by 2 years. So what does all that mean? Here's what that means. That means that when you try to come up with a current value of an investment, you use discounted cash flows. A dollar is more valuable in your pocket today than it is next year. Why? The cost of capital, inflation, these things, and throw in the risk. So the numbers they are giving us are all in today's dollars. How can you possibly assume that these estimates are correct 30 years down the line, given the numbers that they have given us at a 10% Illinois job fill rate? At the original $3 billion, well, now we know it's $4.5 billion. The investment is $9 billion, not 10. And I'm a betting man, but I highly doubt that only 10% of those jobs are going to come from Illinois. Then, of course, the risk and the cost of capital and the time value of money is not even addressed in this. Gregory Humphrey, it is my position based on this, and I got to tell you, Crudy, this was brought up, I believe, by Dana Walks. I had not actually read this before I heard that. There is no investment. There is no investor in this world who would look at an opportunity and not look at it through the lens of discounted cash flows, accounting for the cost of capital and the time value of money. It would not happen, let alone the risk. I do not believe this thing will ever get paid out. And throw on top of that, of course, the political situation. We know Governor Walker plays ball with corporations. We know that through the mining bill. We know that through the money he received or was able to control through third-party groups from the lead paint manufacturing. So now we're going to throw that into the mix. How the hell is this a good deal? Oh, wait. Then there's the environmental impact. Let's throw that on there. Now, what's the value of clean water? Hell, that's something we could argue. But there's no doubt that there is going to be an environmental impact with this project. So, Mr. Gregory Humphrey, those are some facts provided to you by the Legislative Fiscal Bureau, and the studies that were done by Walker's crew. They hired Ernst & Young. They hired these consultants. They gave them the inputs. Garbage in, garbage out, man. You have to account for discounted cash flow and the risk and the value of capital. This is just an unbelievable step that where's the CPA caucus? Where's Dale Koinga? You got a problem with this, Dale Koinga? Would you invest in my business if I told you I'm going to pay you back in today's dollars in 30 years without accounting for inflation? It's a ridiculous proposition.
Dominic, I'm going to put you down for Foxconn maybe. I'd like to hear from the rest of the audience. Your calls welcome right now, 844-967-2789.
Boy, this looks like very big stuff.
And they literally and figuratively get hooked, and once they get hooked, there's no going back.
Very powerful.
Hi, I'm Becky with Bounce Milwaukee, a progressive, local, family-owned entertainment center. We just want to remind you what it's like to be a kid again. Come on in for all ages fun. Bounce in our giant inflatables, race up the rock wall, dominate your friends in laser tag, or just relax in our bar or our massage chairs. Open 6 days a week with extended adult-only weekend hours. Find us at bouncemilwaukee.com.
Hello, friends. Tom Alonzi from Teamsters Local 200. Local 200 has union members from up north in Fond du Lac all the way down to the Illinois state line, from the shores of Lake Michigan out to Waukesha. Here's a fact. Teamster union members negotiate living wages and affordable health care benefits where they work with their union representative. If you're a worker interested in receiving better wages and benefits and respect at your workplace, give Teamsters Local 200 a call at 414-771-6363 and ask to speak to a Teamsters Local 200 organizer today.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
They'll challenge your authority because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, and in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
On marijuana, unfortunately, as a public health issue and a public safety issue, I've opposed that.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, how can medical marijuana help those addicted to opioids?
There's three big things. There's clear consensus now that cannabis can treat pain. That is not an opinion. That is a consensus conclusion by big scientific bodies like the National Academy of Science. We also know that it can help treat the withdrawal symptoms of opioids. People, they don't want to be on them anymore. They want to quit, but they develop the terrible withdrawal symptoms. And now we have evidence that it can actually help heal the part of the brain that is diseased in someone who's an opioid addict. If you had to start from scratch and design a substance to help lead us out of the opioid epidemic, like in a lab, it would probably look very much like cannabis.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212. Tell him good people do smoke marijuana. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
The Western Scrub Jay. I was taking my science class on a virtual reality bird-watching expedition. All of a sudden, Charlie Kane shouts, "Arr! Arr!" He had spotted the elusive black swift, a bird rarely seen in the wild. For a brief moment, Charlie had not the eyes of a 9-year-old boy. He had the eyes of an eagle.
Teachers just have better work stories. Find out how creative teaching can be at teachdfw.org. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Tune in to The Resistance, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next is the Stephanie Miller Show from 9 to 11. Then from 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's 414 Wisconsin. Then from 3 to 6, it's the Devil's Advocates. Mandatory listening. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
The Devil's Advocates. They refuse to do math on the radio.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Last segment of the day. So if you got something to say, the party line is open. 844-967-2789.
Hey, Dom, there is some quote-unquote breaking news, although this is sort of a non-story. A big nothing burger, if you will. Daniel Bice at the Journal-Sentinel. Signs say Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett sitting out the governor's race. One Democrat who didn't jump in, Dom. I'd like to take some credit. I think I scared Tom out of the race. The clock is winding down, and Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett is doing next to nothing to indicate he's putting together a campaign team, sort of like Soglin. I read on. The message is clear. Barrett is not running for governor. He's just not stated it publicly. One of the Democratic contenders said Tuesday that the 4-term Democratic mayor told him just that in private conversation. Speaking at a luncheon sponsored by WisPolitics in the Milwaukee Press Club, Democratic gubernatorial candidate Matt Flynn said he saw Barrett at a luncheon last week, and the Milwaukee mayor said he will not seek the Democratic nomination for governor. Flynn, the former state Democratic Party chief, quoted Barrett as saying, "You've got nothing to worry about for me. I'm not running." But Barrett, who has lost 3 bids to be the state CEO, declined to confirm that he's sitting out the contest, even though that is becoming obvious to anyone familiar with Wisconsin politics. If he runs, he'd need to submit his nomination papers by June 1st. Speaking to reporters after a news conference Tuesday, the mayor said he's still weighing his options. "I've not made a decision," Barrett said. "Obviously, the clock is ticking very quickly. The nomination papers are due June 1st. So obviously I'll make an announcement before then. But even some of Barrett's key supporters say it's time to pull the plug. He's not told me he's not running, a source said, but he could find zero encouragement. Behind the scenes, Barrett has expressed concerns about the quality of the Democratic candidates. In a most recent Marquette University Law School poll, state school superintendent, the ever-frail Tony Evers, led the pack of Democratic contenders with 18% of the vote. If that's not a strong front-runner, Tom, I don't know what is. Madison Mayor, maybe a candidate, Paul Soglin, was at 9%. 44% of those polls said they don't know who they'll vote for. On top of that, none of the 9 notable Democratic gubernatorial candidates is raising big bucks. Barrett, by contrast, is sitting on at least $622,000 in his campaign fund and has shown an ability to raise money quickly in the past, and this could very well be a good year for Democrats. Insiders are emboldened by the recent public policy polling survey that found Governor Scott Walker down 5 percentage points to a generic Democratic candidate. I could have been that generic Dem, Dom.
You could have been a contender, Crudy.
I still could be, technically. All I'd have to do is qualify and get the rest of my signatures. I'm probably still ahead of Soglin.
And Barrett.
Well, Barrett apparently is not running. Dom, quickly, I know we're going to run out of time here, but what do you think about Foxconn as a gubernatorial electoral issue? I think perhaps our friend Dana Wachs has, been the most stridently against this proposition. And as you noted, Dana Wachs is the one that dug in on the current Foxconn contract and realized the LFB reports, they show that the math is really predicated on a foundation of sand. These are not accurate figures that any other business would use to
Nobody
make an
would.
investment.
Nobody would make an investment based on
$4.5 billion.
No, hell no. I mean, Walker would not go to his own pocket to invest in something that doesn't present actual practical
You don't know that about
investment.
Walker.
He wouldn't. He wouldn't. There's no
He
because
doesn't have any
here's how I know.
money.
You know how I know? Because nobody would. Nobody would. This isn't a prospectus. This is a joke. And I'm waiting. And I really mean this. I mean, it's one thing to be objective about something and be concerned about the environment and be concerned about the political influences that Walker's going to gain from this by the third party groups. I get all that. But if you want support, then show me some real freaking numbers. This is a joke. It's an embarrassment. And where's Coinga? Where's the CPA caucus? Where are all the fiscal conservatives? I'd love to know. I'd love to see some new numbers, some accurate numbers. Throw it in there. I get it. You don't know what garbage in, garbage out. Well, this is garbage to start with. It is unacceptable to make that kind of determination that quickly on $4.5 billion. It's certainly concerning.
Hey, buddy, they used both the front and the back of the cocktail napkin.
So it's all good.
A well-conceived plan. All in all, I think it will be the electoral wedge issue of this election cycle. I think the Democrats are well to embrace it, i.e. kill Foxconn. That's just one man's thought, though. Thank you to our fine guest today, Nicole Safar, Executive Director, Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin. And thank you all, of course, for listening. Now, stick around. We're playing a special edition, the Maggie Dawn of the Resistance, playing it out between 6 and 8 p.m. right here on Resistance Radio. If you haven't heard her yet, on Saturdays between 4 and 6, now would be a great opportunity. She's a sharp lady. You better stick around. There's more fine programming next. We'll do it all again tomorrow for your listening pleasure.
They'd like to take me out for a lot of reasons far bigger than just this election.
Scott Walker.
Everything you always wanted in a governor and less.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average